How pleased were you with that second half?
Not very. Again, I think that any time you play the way we did in the second half, and you've got to give Arkansas credit, because I told the guys at halftime, I said, they're not going to stop playing. I said, I've known Mike Anderson too long, and I've watched him coach. His guys are going to come out, and they're going to keep pushing the ball. They're going to drive the ball. They're going to, and they did that the very first play of the game, and we didn't. Defensively, they got whatever they wanted. I think they shoot the second half 50-some%, and we just. But again, you've got to give them credit for it. They came out and won the second half.
Now that you've got that out of the way, can you talk about the first half and getting 55 points with this SEC second leading scorer on the bench pretty much the whole way?
Well, again, with Admiral, I trust him, but again, it goes back to this time of year with a team like Arkansas, knowing that they've got the ability to come back and score like they showed in the second half. That's why we didn't put him back in the game, and the fact of the matter is we've proven in some tough situations we can play without Lamonte. But again, I thought it'd be a great experience for Lamonte to see, and I said, you got to see if you can play with 2 fouls right now, because we wanted to try to keep Jordan Bone and Jordan Bowden fresh, but we wanted to go inside. We wanted to do that, and we defensively we were, I thought, locked in for the most part in the first half, and then I thought when we got to our bench a little bit we weren't, and then I thought we gave up too many offensive rebounds, where a couple of times guys just stood and watched, and at the end of the game, they were just more aggressive and going to get it. But the first half, there was some good things, obviously, there really was, but again, I did something tonight I normally don't do.
I know you're going to dig this.
Arkansas should demand more. Arkansas should be one of the best teams perennially in the SEC. It is an institution in college basketball. It has great tradition. Arkansas should be better. There's no question about that.
It's all dope here.
Answer me now.
No way. Sports Talk.
We need to hire a better coach up there.
Wow.
From the Fleet Center of Arkansas Studios. For all your commercial truck needs.
I'm speaking facts.
How about a little decorum in here on a work day?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
The Chiefs have fired their defensive coordinator after they were unable to give the offense the ball back in the AFC Championship game. Bob Sutton is canned today. And Mike Neighbors and the women's basketball team got a last-second shot from Malika Monk in Knoxville to knock off a ranked Lady Volunteers team.
The kids on the court just fought their guts out. I don't know where the rebound stood, but it gave us a chance to win because we got enough of it.
Big win, and he's doing big things, and we'll talk to him on the show today. And we continue the conversation about where the men's program is right now for Arkansas. Coming up later this hour, Brandon Allen, who is on the winning side of the Rams-Saints game as a practice roster player for the Rams, was there on the sideline during the game. I don't know, there were a couple shots of him. I don't know if you saw him during the game, but former Arkansas quarterback Brandon Allen will join us coming up a little bit later this hour. So glad you're here. Thanks for making us part of your day. Always excited to do this with you. Bart is here. Pete's here. Sawyer's running around a little bit, but Pete's in here right now. Let's talk about something that Chris Patola said on the show yesterday. ESPN college basketball analyst made this statement. You heard some of it in the open.
Take this from somebody who is sees every team and has a universal opinion on college basketball in general. Arkansas should demand more. Arkansas should be one of the best teams perennially in the SEC. It is an institution in college basketball. It has great tradition. Arkansas should be better. There's no question about that.
Let's kind of focus on this part of the statement for
opinion on college basketball in general. Arkansas should demand more.
Arkansas should demand more. Do you believe that? Are you into that? Is that a theory that you're on board with? Arkansas should demand more from its basketball program. Arkansas fans should expect more. We always hear that Arkansas fans are irrational. And then sometimes we hear that Arkansas fans should demand more or expect more. Which is it, in your estimation, when it comes to Arkansas basketball? That you should demand more? That you are rational in demanding more? That it is the right approach to ask for more? You should want more? You've got a good foundation in your argument and your belief and your basis for that? Or you ought to just be happy with what you have? Which is it? You ought to just be happy with what you have. Or you should want more. I mean, Chris Spatola says Arkansas should demand more. You may not know who Chris Spatola is. I have a lot of respect for his homework and for his understanding of college basketball. He is the son-in-law of Mike Krzyzewski. He used to be on the Duke basketball staff. He has been around the game his entire life. He is now an analyst and a talk show host and eats and breathes college basketball every day. So if you don't know who Chris Spatola is, that's the background. Now, does that make his opinion better than everyone else's? Not necessarily. It just means he's a guy that's kind of studied it, understands it, and so it comes from a position of education. But do you agree with him? Do you think Arkansas should expect more? 877-447-4040. A pretty strong statement from Chris Spatola. Just keep hitting buttons over there until you get Bart's mic on.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Good to be with you today.
You've been here, but now we can hear you.
I think it's a fine line to walk as a fan when you're talking about where your program is and what you want your program to be. And especially in the case of Arkansas, and this is why, because they have won a national championship. Now, it's important to keep in mind that that national championship was won by a Hall of Fame coach, a generational coach, a true trailblazer of the game. And those guys don't grow on trees. But because you win that national title, the longer you go without being nationally relevant, and I'm talking about being in the top 25 on a fairly regular basis, the more frustrated you're going to get as a fan. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. Like, Razorback fans being frustrated with the basketball program right now makes a lot of sense.
How frustrated are Arkansas fans with the basketball program? I feel like I don't like the word apathy. To me, apathy sort of is too broad. It's a word we use, but we need to define how much of that there really is. And I feel like it does exist and that people don't get as angry. And by people, I mean not as many fans get as angry about Razorback basketball as there once were. Okay, those fans have kind of just said, well, I'm here. I like it, but I might not go to the game on Wednesday, and I might not even know who won the game until the next day. But I'll find out the next day. I mean, I do want to know, and I hope Arkansas wins, but I'm not just all up in it. And so there's not as much anger and outrage and frustration. People talk about the New York media market and how tough it can be on coaches, because if you listen to the radio or you watch TV on shows that analyze what's happening, they are all over everything. And as a player, you probably feel like you don't catch any breaks. You're not able to ever make a mistake. You're always going to get roasted pretty good. And that's because the New York fans are passionate about their teams, and they are constantly on it. And it used to be that way with Arkansas. It's that way with Alabama and Auburn football. Everything matters. Everything gets talked about. Everything's discussed. And Arkansas, that's still true, but it's not as true with basketball as it once was. And, there's been a decade of losing. I mean, we're talking about a couple of decades of more losing in key moments than winning. Right. Now, the overall record is not that, but the key moments record is that. And Arkansas has been unable, here's how you kind of sum it up, they've been unable to ascend into a favorite position. They are more often in an underdog position, and you're now finding yourself in an underdog position against teams that you normally would be the favorite against. And so as things change and the league changes and teams change, this is where Arkansas finds itself. But you've had some of these great moments. The program has been considered as a top-tier program in the past. I think if you went around and you asked college basketball analysts around the country or people who have been involved with college basketball for a long time, they would say they expect Arkansas to be a top 25 program. But is it? And should that be expected? And is that fair? Is that fair? Is it rational? Is it right? Or if you expect that, are you being irrational? We'll open the phone lines up, 877-447-4040. What is the Arkansas basketball program, and what should it be? 877-447-4040. We'll talk about it next.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
What's your more? Maybe it's more early morning duck calls at your own private duck club. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $50 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Do you enjoy golf? Come live at a Links apartment community and love where you live and play. You get free golf privileges, a resort-style pool, great fitness center, and a whole lot more. Our 9-hole courses offer you challenging and quality golf right outside your front door. All that you need and want, we have. View rates, photos, and apply online today. Or check out a complete list of locations by visiting lindsaymanagement.com. That's lindsaymanagement.com. The Ozarks, one incredible store featuring Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear. The Ozarks, 23,000 square feet of incredible products, where every day is a sale. At the Ozarks, prices are marked down upon arrival on almost every product, which means they are immediately passing big savings on to you. Bring the whole family into the Ozarks for a shopping experience like no other. Where else can you find firearms, camo, and the hottest boutique brands all in one place? It's only at the Ozarks. They also have the best selection of gun safes in the region with free delivery within 30 miles. Don't forget, they have a live fire 15-lane indoor gun range as well. At the Ozarks, you'll find hunting and fishing supplies, bikes, kayaks, knives, boots, you name it, they've got it. So much for the whole family to discover at the Ozarks. Check out Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear, Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Be sure to follow them on social media to see what daily sales are happening at the Ozarks.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
You know, Chad Morris has talked about Clemson being the blueprint at Arkansas. You've obviously seen Morris up close, and he wants to emulate some of what Clemson's doing, or most of it, at Arkansas, and he's got big dreams for this program. What can you tell us about when Chad Morris was at Clemson and what you know about him?
You know, we were struggling, and Dabo knew we had to make a change. He brought Chad in. And that's the other thing. I mean, he didn't go out and try to hire some big glamorous guy, you know, that already had a name. He had a vision on what he wanted from his offense. Chad was 1 year out of high school coaching at Tulsa. And the thing that Chad did when he came in here, he brought the new thing, what kids like to do. When they come to practice every day, I mean, you got a lot of energy because they like what they're doing from an offensive standpoint. And then it made us change some on defense, too, because we had to adapt to what teams are doing today with offenses. But the thing I liked about what Chad did, because he hadn't been out of high school too long, and he came in and he connected with these kids. I mean, our staff, we had some older guys here on our staff, but he connected with these kids, and it was able to help us recruit. Deshaun Watson was sitting right down the road in Georgia, and because of what we were doing on offense, he fell in love with it. His high school coaches came up here and spent a lot of time with us. He ended up going back down there, putting the things that we were doing on offense in there in Gainesville for Deshaun, and the next thing you know, we get Deshaun committed. And we all know what he did for us at quarterback and helping us prepare to be able to win a national championship. And that's what Chad did. Chad did a great job of that.
Well, I was just thinking, Hatfield, Arkansas, Ford, Arkansas, both of those guys, Clemson as well. They had some success here at Arkansas. I don't know, Chad Morris. There's a lot going on between Clemson and Arkansas. Is there any magic left in that connection?
Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight.
The ball kind of popped out, but I put it back in.
I didn't alter the ball in any way.
I said, let's lose 11-5.
And now it's time for Sports Talk's No Malarkey Minute. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky, Northwest Arkansas's on-time electrician. Call 888-8-SPARKY today.
I don't think it's a secret to say that Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson are responsible for most of Arkansas's basketball success. But it is no malarkey. And to help illustrate the point, here's a stat or two for you. Arkansas has been to the Sweet 16 11 times in 80 years. 6 under Nolan Richardson, 4 under Eddie Sutton. 10 of the 11 Sweet 16 appearances in 80 years, the last 80 years of Arkansas basketball, were from Hall of Fame coaches. Glenn Rose went to the Sweet 16 once. That's the 11. 6 by Nolan, 4 by Eddie, 1 by Glenn Rose. Arkansas has been involved in 32 NCAA tournaments in the same period. Nolan Richardson and Eddie Sutton took them to 22 of the 32 appearances. So does Arkansas have a traditional power basketball program? Or do they have a Nolan Richardson, Eddie Sutton run? Or flip it, Eddie to Nolan run? Eddie Sutton to Nolan Richardson was the Arkansas basketball program. Everybody else has struggled. Is there more to this story? Right now, that is the story. The No Malarkey Minute brought to you by Mr. Sparky, Northwest Arkansas's on-time electrician. If you've got an electrical problem, doesn't matter how big or small, call our friends at Mr. Sparky. You know the number? It's 888-8-SPARKY, or you can log on to their website at MrSparkyNWA.com.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
There are more numbers along those lines to indicate those two guys are responsible for Arkansas basketball being thought of as a reputable program. Nobody else can really claim that. No other coach can really claim when they were the Arkansas coach, they attributed to Arkansas being thought of as a top 25 program, as a Sweet 16 contender. So what does that tell us? What do you do with that? JT is in Russellville, 877-447-4040. JT, you're on Sports Talk. Go ahead.
Long time no talk, but last time I spoke with you about 10 years or so ago, you were in a live remote, and I won a round of golf. A trivia question that you put on the radio. So
golf
it's a long
clap.
time ago.
Golf clap for you. I hope you had a good time with your free round of golf.
I did, but kind of stole a little bit of my thunder, and basically going back to Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson. You asked the question, what do we expect out of our basketball team? I expect more out of our basketball team than I do out of our football team. That may sound a little weird, but you have to recruit a lot of players to make it and be competitive in the SEC football. You don't need to recruit a lot of talented. I mean, you need talent, but you don't have to recruit as much for the basketball program. You need 1, 2, or 3 guys that can really play. You can have a competitive team in the SEC. I expect more out of our basketball team as far as getting to the NCAA than I do out of our football team competing with Alabama and LSU every year because of that. Yes, Nolan Richardson and Eddie Sutton spoiled us with what they did for us over the years. I went to Eddie Sutton's basketball camps. I went to Nolan Richardson basketball camps. I've watched them as I've grown up. And it's just we've gotten spoiled, but over the years we've just not had the coaches. We've had great players and good players, but we've not had the coaches to coach those guys. And I really feel bad that Mike has fallen short because I was really hoping that he would be able to pull us back up by the bootstraps and get us back to where we wanted to go. But to answer your question, I expect more out of our basketball team than I do out of our football team.
Interesting. I appreciate that thought, JT, and thanks for hopping on. Thanks for the call. Thanks for making the time. 877-447-4040. I don't mind telling you, I root for people. I try not to root for teams and try not to get too emotional in doing that because when you're emotional, you're just not as clear-headed. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm generally not clear-headed anyhow, so it just kind of helps. Let's not cloud it up anymore. But I root for Mike Anderson. I don't mind telling you that. I want to see Mike Anderson be successful because I like who Mike Anderson is as a person. I like what Mike Anderson's about. I like what his wife and family are about. I think Mike Anderson is in it for all the right reasons. Nobody knows more than he does he's got to win. And Mike Anderson came from humble beginnings and has been working his tail off his whole life to become whatever he has become at each step along the way. He is a Cinderella underdog story in life. And he has had marvelous moments in basketball and achieved Sweet 16s and Elite 8s. It just hasn't happened at Arkansas. But it hasn't happened for anybody at Arkansas not named to the College Basketball Hall of Fame in Glen Rose. Roscoe in South Carolina. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, real quick. I'm trying to follow you here. You're talking about, is Arkansas's basketball program like an elite program, or was it just elite with Hall of Fame coaches? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, is Duke an elite program, or is Coach K the program? Is Syracuse an elite program, or is it Jim Boeheim? Is Indiana a big-time program, or was it just Bobby Knight?
Great question.
Michigan State.
But great
Michigan
points.
State. Is it Michigan State, or is it Tom Izzo, Judd Heathcote? UNC, was it Dean Smith and Roy Williams? You know, I mean, Matt Doherty, Bill Guthridge. I mean, they didn't do much when they were there. How about UCLA? Was UCLA an elite program, or they?
Ben Howland won
Wooden?
Final Fours there.
Okay.
I mean, went to Final Fours. I mean, there are some programs. I get your point, and I like it, and I think it's right on, because coaching has a lot to do with it. There are some programs, like take Kentucky in basketball, Alabama in football, while Saban has had unparalleled success. Well, I guess it's paralleled to Bear Bryant. They have traditionally been, through many coaches, a powerhouse. And Kentucky, the same. But how many programs are there like that?
Oh, there just a few.
Yeah.
But I see no reason that we can't be up there with Indiana and Michigan State.
But can anybody be that? Like, so does it come down to any coach or any program having a coach that goes on a run? And by the way, coaches going on runs can depend on a lot of things. It may not just be because they're awesome. You have to be good, but there are a lot of good coaches that aren't in the right position. John Wooden talked about this, about guys that he felt like were better coaches than he was. He just ended up in a better situation than a lot of people. Like, you think of Greg Marshall at Wichita State. Not every year's been great for him, but Wichita State is considered a good spot right now because of him. And some years are better than others for him based on maybe players that would be willing to consider going there or that he had when he got there. Well,
I hope that we have one of those banner years that Coach Marshall got in Wichita one of these years under Mike Anderson, so we can tolerate the down years easier. Because right now our good years are not even in the Sweet 16. And I think that's what it comes down to.
So what do you do? You're Hunter Yurachek. How do you change what's going on with Arkansas basketball? And by the way, when I say change, too many times we spend our conversation on one thing, and that's the head coach. And it's either the head coach is going to work or he's not going to work, and that's it. And as we've discussed here, there's a lot to that, but there are other things that you can do. You can build your recruiting staff. You can change the amenities at the arena. You can work on the brand of your program and how it's marketed to recruits. You can increase your recruiting budget. There's all kinds of things that you can do.
But let me ask you something real quick. You're the athletic director at a generic college, and you have to pick a new basketball coach. You can only choose from the 14 SEC basketball coaches. Where would you put Mike Anderson on your list?
Well, he'd be on it.
Sure, he'd be in your top 14.
He's in there.
But if you're projecting forward,
he's on it.
You're an AD for the next 5 years.
Well, right now, here's the way that goes. Your status goes up or down based on your most recent year, right?
Sure.
Is John Calipari still at the top? John Calipari, is he still at the top?
I would say so, yes.
The very top. You got John Calipari at the top.
I would. If I'm picking, yeah, because his most recent track record, I would say yes. But do you feel like if it were a stock, do you think Will Wade in the next 3 to 4 years is going to be more successful than Mike Anderson? How about Kermit Davis?
I think Will Wade's going to out-recruit Mike Anderson.
I do too.
Kermit Davis?
Yeah.
Kermit Davis is interesting because he was at Middle Tennessee for so long. And you got to be careful on some of these jobs where a coach comes in at just the right time, inherits just the right players who are willing to listen and buy in and excited about it, and they win. And then the next year, some of those players cycle out and the new players start coming in. And can that coach maintain it? And so it's a little early on Kermit for me. Rick Barnes has done it before. He's doing it again at Tennessee.
And he signed a kid out of my neck of the woods down here in South Carolina that's a 5-star who had it down to Duke, Michigan State, and Tennessee.
Bruce Pearl. I like Bruce Pearl.
Sure.
I mean, some of these guys might get you in jail, but I mean, they're going to win. And that's part. And I'm not kidding. That's part of that. All of that is part of college basketball. I'm not saying everybody cheats. I'm just saying it's all part of when you draw a circle and everything involved with college basketball goes in the circle. That's part of it. It is a dirty, nasty. Thank you. World of recruiting. I left Roscoe on for so long, he had to take another call.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Razorback fans, it's time to snag the softest game day gear at CaveCloth.com. CaveCloth specializes in hand-printed, super soft, eco-friendly tees, unique enough to stand out in the stadium, but comfortable enough for cheering from the couch. Locally owned in Fayetteville, the CaveCloth crew hand-prints each and every t-shirt to order, ensuring you get the softest, most comfortable tees in Arkansas. And the best part? Every order ships free every day. Shop CaveCloth.com today to make your hog call really stand out. That's CaveCloth.com.
Razorback women's basketball is back inside Bud Walton Arena on Thursday, January 24th at 7 p.m. for a matchup with SEC conference opponent Alabama, presented by Degree. Tickets are $5 for adults and $3 for youth 17 and under. This game will recognize Alzheimer's awareness as part of the We Back Pat initiative. Get your tickets at the door or call 1-800-982-HOGS or visit ArkansasRazorbacks.com. Stand side by side with the Razorback women's basketball.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
We're expecting to hear from Woody McCorvey, who Dabo Swinney brought up for the Bear Bryant Award when he accepted the award a few days ago.
When I got the job at Clemson, the first person I called was Woody. He was the offensive coordinator at Mississippi State, and I said, Woody, man, I need you to come be by my side. I don't want you to coach a position. I want you to help me coach life. I want you to help me run the program. Y'all see he's got all the gray hair. I'm still hanging in there. But you don't know how impactful Woody McCorvey has been in my life. He's been right by my side. And so even though my name may be on this trophy tonight, man, he ought to be on there somewhere too.
He spent 18 years coaching in the SEC, and he's currently the Clemson Associate AD of Football Administration. He's been right there with Dabo Swinney the whole time, and he's joining us on the First Security Bank hotline, Woody McCorvey. Woody, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it today.
Glad to be on with you all.
That was quite a moment the other night. It was inspiring for many of us to watch. What was your reaction? Were you surprised when Dabo called you up on stage as he was receiving the Bear Bryant Coach of the Year award?
Yeah, I was really surprised, but I shouldn't have been because that's Dabo. I've been knowing him a long time, since 1990, when I went to Alabama, and he happened to be one of my players. And he always talked about me being an inspiration to him, but he's been a big inspiration to me. And, you know, just having an opportunity to be here and be around him every day for the last 10 years has been very important to me and also my wife.
What did you see in him as a young coach that made you want to hire him back when you were the offensive coordinator at Alabama?
Just his work ethic. When I first got there in 1990, they had just won the SEC championship the year before and played in the Sugar Bowl. Coaching change and just being around him that spring. And he didn't get a whole lot of opportunities early on in camp in August. But every day you went on the practice field, you noticed something about it. When you walked off the field, you saw something that he did. He wasn't as talented as some of those other guys, but his work ethic and his approach and the way he approached the game always jumped out at me. And then when we lost two receivers early that year, one in the Florida game in Tuscaloosa, and the next week over in Athens in another game against Georgia, I decided I was going to give him a chance because I just wanted somebody to do the job. You know, not be exceptional, but just do the job. And when I did that, he took that opportunity to make the most of it.
Has he always been able to recruit? Has he always been a good recruiter?
Oh, yeah. From day one. That's one thing I noticed when he couldn't even go on the road. We only had like 4 GAs at the time, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. But he did whatever he had to do in terms of writing notes. When we had kids in on official visits, when they came into Tuscaloosa, he did a tremendous job with families and the players. And then once he got that opportunity in '96, I mean, he went out there, he made the most of it. And he did a great job there for Alabama, even after I left. And then when Tommy Bowden hired him over here at Clemson, I mean, he did an exceptional job. And that's one of the biggest reasons that Terry Don Phillips gave him an opportunity to be the head coach here.
Because he can recruit. And Terry Don knew that.
Yeah, the thing that Terry Don saw.
And now, the Ozark Sportsman Supply Hog Update.
Malika Monk with a game-winning shot to give Arkansas the 80-79 win over Tennessee on Monday.
That's a big step for us. That's a domino we've knocked down now, and we can go into some games like this with more confidence that we can win and win a clutch one. That's our 5th game this year that's been gone down to the last possession, either needing to score and stop or both. So we're growing up.
That's the women's second win over Tennessee in Knoxville in program history. Next up, Alabama on Thursday. To the men who are desperately needing to snap their 4-game losing streak.
We got to play with a little more pop, a little more energy. I think that's got to be, we're an energy team. And once that energy is injected from a defensive standpoint, then we're in attacking mode offensively as well.
Hoping to do so against Missouri on Wednesday. The Tigers and Hogs tip off at 8 p.m. at Bud Walton Arena. And John Scott Jr. is headed to South Carolina. The Hogs defensive line coach hired for the same position with the Gamecocks. Scott is a South Carolina native and has spent the past 2 seasons at Arkansas. I'm Melissa Orange for the Pig Trail Nation, and that's your Hog Update.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Thanks, Alyssa. The update brought to you by Ozark Sportsman Supply, where right now they have the Bullets and Bling Valentine's Day sweepstakes happening. Each customer is going to receive an entry for every $50 you spend between now and Valentine's Day. First place, his and hers, pistol. Second place, his and her, designer outfits. Third place, range passes and more. They got a bunch of great stuff at the Ozarks. Your go-to store for all your work clothes as well. Men and women's, and a huge selection of Carhartt. Highway 412, just west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Bart, you wanted to come back to the coach versus program discussion.
Right. I just think it's short-sighted maybe to just throw away programs as being results of a particular coach. I'll give you some examples of what I'm talking about. Like North Carolina, well, it's just Dean Smith and Roy Williams. Other guys haven't had success there. Well, Frank McGuire won a national title at North Carolina before Dean Smith was ever in the picture. And there were other coaches that had success, going even further back than that at North Carolina. Duke's the same way. You had guys like Eddie Cameron and Vic Bubas who had success there. Not the level that Coach K has elevated the program to, but I mean, goodness gracious, we're talking about maybe the best coach in the history of the game. Of course, he's going to elevate what's possible at a particular school. Branch McCracken won a national title at Indiana before Bob Knight was ever there. So I don't feel like there are certain programs that are just, have that certain aura around them, and it is about the program. It's not just, now look, you've got to have a guy who isn't an idiot in there running things, but Tubby Smith won a national title at Kentucky. Is Tubby Smith the greatest coach in the world? No, not at all. We've seen that play out, but he won a national title at Kentucky. So you can accomplish things at certain programs. Certain programs are more or in a better position to have success than others from the get-go. I think the Alabama example is great. A lot of coaches can win at Alabama. It's not just Nick Saban. It's not just Bear Bryant. You just can't be a total buffoon. But there are other programs where, those programs have been made by a coach. Like Texas Tech has never had success in basketball like what they're having right now with Chris Beard. Like they just have not been a good basketball program historically. So the opposite can be true, but there are more than just a few programs that are really great college basketball programs, and the right coach can elevate that program to win national titles.
Chris Spatola, ESPN college basketball analyst, said this yesterday.
Arkansas should demand more.
And that's what we're debating today. Should Arkansas demand more in basketball, or is demanding more unreasonable? 877-447-4040. And if it's not unreasonable and you should demand more, how much more should you demand? If you look at the success of Arkansas basketball, it's been primarily Nolan Richardson and Eddie Sutton. Eddie Sutton, 4 Sweet 16s. Nolan Richardson, 6. That's 10 of the 11 in school history. Brent in Stuttgart. Brent, go ahead, man.
Well, yes, Bo. I've been listening to your questions about the basketball program, and I would like to make a comment if I can. If I was in Hunter Yurachech's shoes, Bo.
Yep.
I believe if I was Hunter Yurachech, the first thing I would do, I would ask Mike Anderson to make some staff changes. In my opinion, I know that may ruffle his feathers, and but sometimes new ideas from assistant coaches are a good thing to give you some new blood in the program and things like that. Get you some new blood on the recruiting trail, because our recruiting is so far not up to the par of the other programs in the SEC. We're not getting the top tier players, and I want yours and Parks comments off the air. Thank you.
Well, the recruiting rankings bear that out. Arkansas is not getting the best players. They had a solid recruiting class last year, but it's not good enough.
7th in the SEC. And that's not good enough. If you want to compete to win in this league, if you're getting the 7th most talented recruit, and look, basketball is so different than football, right? In terms of recruiting, because if you sign so many guys in football and so many guys play at one time that if you get just enough of those overlooked 3-star type of guys who you can develop, you can compete and you can challenge for a championship or a division title. Basketball is not the same. If you're 7th in the recruiting rankings in college basketball, that's going to bear out in terms of standings and where you finish in the league. And maybe you won't finish 7th, maybe you'll finish 6th or 5th or 4th, but you're going to have a really hard time winning because so many other teams have more talent than you, and there are only 5 guys on the court at one time.
Jeff in Dallas, 877-447-4040. Jeff, go ahead.
Bo, the writing's on the wall. It's 8, almost 9 years now, 2 tournament wins. It's time to turn the page. There shouldn't even be a debate. You got probably the most talented basketball player in Gafford that's been on campus since Joe Johnson. I would say he's got a lot higher ceiling in the NBA than Bobby Portis did. You look at you're sitting over there with two very relaxed personalities as your main assistants. TJ's never spoke a lot. Scotty's pretty kind of quiet guy. It's just not working. Mike's coaching an outdated style of basketball that was it was made for a time when there was big men on the floor and you could pressure the other team into playing faster. College basketball is a guard-dominated game, has been for 10 going on 15 years at this point. There's really nothing to debate. It's time for Mike to move on.
And I understand that is a fair take. I think that there are a lot of people who would say, that I've talked to, would say that's spot on. I think you talk to people around college basketball who would have that same opinion. I guess the question, Jeff, I would have for you is, you said just 2 tournament wins, and so it's time. But what is the standard at Arkansas?
Well, Bo, I'll tell you.
As you warm up your ramen or whatever that is in the microwave.
I was a freshman in '93. I was a sophomore in '94. I was in high school in the 90s at Springdale. So it's pretty obvious what my standard is. I grew up with Eddie Sutton, and the standard is winning at Arkansas. And that's what it should have always been. Nolan burnt the place to the ground on his way out the door, and we've made ridiculously bad hires ever since. You look at the University of Memphis, they've had, I want to say, 3 coaches in the time post-Nolan that have had more success than the entire Arkansas program has had, because you got Pastner, who had more success than anybody that's been at Arkansas post-Nolan. Calipari's obvious. And now Penny Hardaway's signing the number 1 player in the country right now.
Well, it's too early on Penny, and I don't think Pastner was that successful. But I understand your point about the era you came up in, and so that's your standard, and I get that. And I think for people that were in that era, and they want that back. But those were Hall of Fame coaches as well. I will also push back a little bit. I don't think Gafford is better than Portis at this point in his college career. You agree with that?
I agree with that, while also thinking that Gafford has more upside in terms of future NBA value than Portis.
So I'm trying to figure out, how you quantify that right now. Like, do you look and say, well, the coaches haven't gotten it out of him, or you just say he's not there yet? Because they developed both of these players to where they are now, in Gafford's case, and eventually got to in Portis before he left. I mean, those guys developed on campus. Right. Gafford has gotten better since he's gotten to campus. Portis did the same thing. I think as a college basketball player, Portis was better.
Portis was
through his sophomore year,
was more well-rounded early on, and he had
different
range
kind of
to 18 feet, and that helps the offense move.
Gafford,
a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if Gafford's the best player since Joe Johnson to come to Arkansas.
No, I don't think we can say that right now.
David and Searcy, go ahead.
Hey, Bo, I think you know me well enough now to know that I really don't like criticism, and it's not because I'm a great guy or anything. I simply don't believe in it. I just don't. I've always believed if you can't say something that causes good, then you really shouldn't be saying anything. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think. And I believe that Coach Anderson has made lots of mistakes in the Nolan-esque style of recruiting too many athletes and not enough basketball players. We've got too many forwards on the team now that can't shoot the basketball, and there's just not that many Dennis Rodmans out there. You're just not going to be finding them. And he needs to get more guys who are at least adept at shooting the basketball, even if they are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". We got to have some of those guys. And the 40 minutes of hell has turned into 40 minutes of, oh, well. 0 fast break points the last game. And I'll be honest with you, Bo, it's not necessarily the fact that we're not making runs in tournaments anymore that has really put off all of my friends. It is the fact or the way we are losing. They no longer believe in Coach Anderson's style and no longer believe that it will get us anywhere. And that's the hard thing. If you have no confidence in that coach doing anything for you in the future, they've just lost interest. Now, I'll never lose interest and I'll never miss a game. But most of the people I know have lost total interest and no longer watch. And that's where we're in.
All right, David. Thanks for the call. 877-447-4040.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
And they're off. At Oaklawn in Hot Springs, we're oh so ready for racing.
Oh so ready, on the engine and pumped up.
Oaklawn's live season starts Friday, January 25th, and we're ready to showcase the very best in thoroughbred racing this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Past the furlong marker, oh so ready is 5 lengths in front.
Gates open at 11 a.m. every day. On Saturday the 26th, enjoy one of our legendary corned beef sandwiches for just 50 cents. And remember, we're racing all the way to May 4th, so stay until May. Oaklawn Gaming is open every day at 8 a.m. with more new games and more good times, so don't miss the nonstop excitement. We're oh so ready for another thrilling season of live thoroughbred racing beginning January 25th.
Oh so ready, the one to catch, oh so ready.
At Oaklawn, Arkansas's favorite place to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
What's your more? Maybe it's more early morning duck calls at your own private duck club. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $50 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Life is better with basketball. And with First Security, we have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
All right, let's go to the First Security Bank hotline, and we welcome in Arkansas's newest quarterback, Ben Hicks, a graduate transfer from SMU. Ben, great to have you on the show. Thanks for making time for us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys.
I guess it's been a little bit of a fast whirlwind for you after deciding you were going to go somewhere else. Tell us what the last couple of weeks have been like.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Just been trying to figure everything out with my family, taking visits, talking to coaches, just trying to figure out, what was best, for my future. And I decided Arkansas would be the best place to play my last year. And, it's been going fast ever since I got here. And, I'm looking forward to getting to work. So,
are you already enrolled in school?
Pretty much, yes, sir. I start class tonight. Haven't been able to work out yet just because of paperwork and a bunch of, medical stuff, trying to get all that fixed and taken care of so I can, be cleared to go work out. So just trying to get all that stuff done as quickly as possible.
That's a quick turnaround. You're here over the weekend and you're on campus ready to go to school a couple days later. This is how fast it's happening for Ben Hicks. What made you choose Arkansas?
Just the opportunity to come back and play for Coach Morris and Coach Craddock. And this staff, it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up, and to come in and play in the SEC, playing an offense that I've already played in, and I'm familiar with. So, there's too many positives. So I just thought this would be the best place for me to finish on my college career.
Do you feel like you're walking into it?
When did you know you were going to get fired? Probably the first day I took the job.
They've won the championship of life.
You're not giving any kind of effort, and things we think is ridiculous, you wear orange.
I don't get right the head comb.
The cut of the day.
The ball came through the basket. It was at 0. Game's over. Dogs win.
Presented by Bud Anderson Home Services. One call does it all. 855-GO-CALL-BUD.
Do you know what you don't know?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
The legendary Mike Francesa, sports radio host in New York. You got to be on your toes in this world of social media because not everything's as it appears.
I gave you the referee's name who ran the group and who said to the pool reporter that it was a judgment call and he wasn't even sure what call they were talking about. If you were the referee of that game and you didn't realize you had a problem on your hands and that is your honest statement, you should be fired. You should never have another jersey, whether you exchange them with players before the game, which should be an outrageous thing to begin with. No way should an official be exchanging jerseys with a player before a game. That's such a bad thing to do.
So the Le Batard show did like a fake thing where the official who missed the pass interference call allegedly exchanged jerseys before the game with Todd Gurley. Like his official jersey with Todd Gurley's jersey.
Super fake.
Somehow Francesa then found out that what he was upset about was not actually true.
The Gurley-Vinovich picture is not real. That was posted by Gurley, I guess, but it was not real. Thank God at least that wasn't true. So they didn't exchange jerseys, which I'm thankful for that.
So no longer outraged. Because that didn't happen.
If you look at the bottom of the photo, it's clearly a player. You can see the legs and the cleats, and you're like, come on, man.
It's another player. The official is.
Yeah, it's clearly just they just photoshopped the head. It's just real bad.
Bud Anderson, cut of the day. Do you plan on replacing your heating and cooling system this spring? If you are, you're in luck because Bud Anderson's giving away a free Daikin furnace with the purchase of a 16-SEER Daikin air conditioning system. Plus, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Call Bud Anderson at 855-GO-CALL-BUD or GoCallBud.com. Chuck is in Greenland. Hey, Chuck, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bud? I wanted to weigh in on this Mike Anderson I'm hearing about a lot today, over the last week. I think he's ran his course. I think he's probably about 3 years overdue. He's probably should have been gone 3 years ago. His main excuse is always, we got a young team, and that's partially his fault. the team that's that young with no senior leadership. You know, he didn't go out and try to recruit any JUCO players with experience, and they try to get in here to help these young players.
Well, he's got some JUCO guys, but last year they had a veteran team. This year they've got a young team.
Well, it's his fault they're the young. He let it slip. He's let it slip to this point. And I just go back to Missouri. When he was at Missouri, I lived up in that area. He was on his way out after having two of the best teams talent-wise in the nation and couldn't do nothing with them in the tournament. And he was actually
he went to the Elite Eight 1 year. Won the Big 12 tournament another year, which is, that's big.
He should have won. He should have probably won a title with them Missouri teams. Probably even been back to back with the talent he had, and he wasted that away. And it's time for him to go, man. They need a change.
Well, if you're here saying that Mike Anderson can't coach because of what he did at Missouri, I don't understand that. What he did at Missouri far surpasses what he's done at Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. With a lot of talent, and he couldn't do enough there.
Well, but how did he get the talent at Missouri then? Has he had the same talent at Arkansas?
If he had the same talent at Arkansas, he'd done better, I do believe.
So what's the difference between Missouri and Arkansas for Anderson?
Then, what my difference is, he had super talent in Missouri and couldn't get past the Elite Eight. That year, he should have been in the final.
I don't care about Missouri anymore. What I'm saying is, if Mike Anderson had that kind of talent at Missouri, why is he not getting it at Arkansas?
I think it's just the area. It's the SEC. It's just so hard to recruit in the SEC.
Okay. All right. So it's a tougher job at Arkansas than it was at Missouri when Missouri was in the Big 12. All right. Thanks for your thoughts, Chuck.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't have any complaints, nor did I when Anderson was at Missouri. I mean, I know some people did. They didn't win enough on the road or whatever, but Arkansas would take all that success right now.
You are listening to Sports Talk, produced by Bart Pullman, directed by Sire Radler. Want the latest commentary, interviews, takes, and phone calls?
Anytime, anywhere.
Check out Sports Talk Primetime, Arkansas's premier sports talk podcast. Find it on iTunes or online at sportsandstory.com.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Do you feel like you're walking into an offense that you know and already understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been in this system pretty much my whole entire college career. Spent a lot of time with Coach Morris and Craddock. And Coach Craddock, obviously, while there at SMU, and put a lot of work into this offense with them. So I understand this offense, kind of like the back of my hand. So, kind of excited to dive back into it and see what we can do.
Your best year statistically was Coach Morris's last year at SMU. What do you feel was the reason you guys had that kind of success there in 2017?
Well, I think it was the experience. We've been able to, kind of get the culture set up, had the offense installed, about 100%, and we were able to just go out and play loose, and weren't really thinking anymore. And I think, we had good players, obviously, but I think what he had done the previous years with the culture. And installing the offense, that last year, we were just able to go out and play free and loose, and that's what we did, and we, had a really good year.
Ben Hicks, Arkansas grad transfer from SMU, with us on the First Security Bank hotline. As a quarterback, what do you need to understand about Chad Morris's offense, Craddock's offense, to be successful?
You've got to know how to get the ball to your playmaker, distribute the ball, get the ball in your hands quickly, and, just be able to do the little things right, football.
Coach, just want to get your thoughts on Bowden and Lamonte's performances tonight. They only missed 3 shots combined.
Again, I thought the first half, I do think the first half they both played really good. I thought they had a really great demeanor about themselves. And I thought those 2 guys, I did think that were really trying to work. And defensively, again, one of Lamonte's fouls he got was because, again, the guy that we got driven by, and he reached as opposed to trying to move his feet. He can't move that far. It's just too much of a straight line drive. But I thought those guys did well. At the end, I don't know what kind of pass Lamonte was throwing there that one time, and then we turned it over coming out of a timeout, knowing they were going to go up there and press us. And again, we're an older group of guys. We shouldn't come out of timeouts and turn the ball over. We shouldn't do that. And some of that happened in the second half.
You had said yesterday you didn't think of Lamonte and Jordan as reserves. Why do you kind of think them as starters even though they're not?
Do what?
You had said yesterday you didn't think
they're not. They're as much a starter. I mean, I look at our team. We probably got 7 guys that we really. I could throw Folky in that group. I wouldn't have a hard time starting him because he's getting better. He let down a little bit tonight, but I know we definitely have 7 guys that we could start, and who knows what we'll do with the lineup going. But I do think it's some guys respond better sitting there watching the game a little bit and coming in and doing some things. I like to think that we can get defensively.
I know you're gonna dig this.
My good is Alvarez Ortiz. Alvaro Ortiz,
yeah, Ortiz
winning the Latin American Open.
Yeah. I wish you could see this. The fear on Clay's face as he embarked on trying to say this name.
This
it's all dope here.
is
Answer me now.
No Way Sports Talk.
We need to hire a batter, Coach up there.
Wow.
From the Fleet Center of Arkansas Studios. Best prices on commercial trucks.
Start speaking facts.
How about a little decorum in here on a work day?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Dudley's going to join us here in a bit, but we're going to begin on the First Security Bank hotline this hour. Former Razorback quarterback, now with the Los Angeles Rams, Brandon Allen on the First Security Bank hotline as the Rams prepare for a Super Bowl showdown with the New England Patriots. B.A., great to have you back on the airwaves in Arkansas. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
What's the aftermath of the NFC Championship game been like?
Oh, man, it was great. It was exciting. Obviously, the ending it's kind of something you kind of dream about, but now we're full focus on the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, trying to stop them.
Sean McVay, your head coach, has really gotten a lot of attention this year for good reason, and we've all kind of gotten to know him a little bit better. How would you describe the man who seems to have the most unbelievable memory in football?
Well, it's pretty true. He's very innovative. He knows football. He knows it so well. He's able to diagnose defenses and game plan and call schemes and things that are going to give our offense the best chance to be successful. And obviously he's the best at doing it right now.
Do you sometimes, or maybe others on the team, get a little nervous about a guy with a memory that good? Like, he could say something and make you believe that he remembers it and you don't. And he's like, yo, you don't remember that? And he may have never said it. I get a little nervous, like, when somebody's got that much of a better memory than me.
No, I mean, there's times where it seems like it would be intimidating, but that sort of memory, he's only there to help. He's trying to help everyone on that offense as best he can, and his memory, I think, is what kind of does it for him. He can remember things that he's called or been through, and for certain defenses, and he can pull up the look. If you're unsure of what it is, he'll go right to it and like, here it is right here. And so the memory like that, it's almost one of a kind. I mean, it's very difficult to remember and do the things that he does.
What is your role on the team as a backup quarterback on the practice squad, and yet interfacing with the offense and McVay in this case, and just all of the things that go into that? Tell us kind of what your life's like working with him during games and all of the ways you're involved.
Yeah, so in practice, it's a lot of the practice reps and walkthrough reps and all that is to give a look for our defense. So I would say the majority of my time is spent trying to emulate whatever opponent we're going against, and then but I'm always in the offensive meetings, always know the game plan, always preparing like you're going to play. That way, as a backup, your starter so Jared can come to us, and if he has questions or anything, we're in tune with the game plan, so we can give insight if he needs it, and maybe we see something that he hadn't seen yet, and so we're always in tune with the game plan, but also doing our best to give looks for our defense at practice to make sure they're prepared for some of the things they're going to see. And game day, I'm the clipboard guy on the sideline, so I'm always there writing down the plays and writing down the defenses and what they're doing, so we can kind of get a tip or a tell here and there to see what maybe they're doing certain defenses in certain situations of the game, and so that's kind of my overview of what I have to do.
Yeah, I saw you on the sideline. They cut away to you at one point on television, and you were writing something down, and I thought, I wonder what that is. I wonder how is this good?
Most likely it's whatever the defense was in. Yeah, that's kind of my job.
And it was pencil. I think it was a pencil. That way you can erase it if you screw it up. Is that what
exactly
we got a pencil for? Okay.
I give it my most educated guess as the play goes on, and then we have those surfaces on the sideline to see if we can go back and look at the pictures and see if we can double check my work, I guess.
Brandon Allen with his former Arkansas quarterback. When you go in the NFL, you don't know exactly how it's going to go. And I know you'd probably rather be a starter somewhere and playing right now and all of that. But if you're going to be in this position and you're going to bounce around a little bit as you've moved from one team to another, do you kind of look at yourself and go, man, I couldn't have drawn this up? I mean, I'm spending quality time with one of the offensive innovators in all of football.
It really is unbelievable. If you're going to be in a spot that I'm in, this is the best spot to be. You can learn from, like you said, one of the greatest offensive minds, and you get a whole new perspective of offense and defense and everything he's kind of teaching us here. And so it's great. I mean, it's I'll say a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it really is to be able to sit and learn from him and from this offense, and it's what it's doing is it's preparing all of us for the future. You never, like you said, you never know what's going to hold in the future, but having this opportunity to learn and be here is great.
Growing up a coach's son, you've been around this for a long time. You're still learning football, as we've just talked about. Do you see yourself as a coach someday?
I've thought about it. I obviously want to make the NFL last as long as I can, but that when that chapter comes, it's definitely something I'm going to think about. It's kind of like I've been almost preparing for it my whole life, in a sense. So we'll see. I don't have any set plans yet, but when that comes, I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
What is this like right now as you find yourself thinking, gee, I'm going to the Super Bowl. We're going to be there.
Yeah. It's pretty surreal. Again, I don't want to say it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but there's a lot of people that don't get this opportunity ever. A lot of guys, we have some guys that have been playing in the league for 12, 14 years, and a couple of them got their first playoff win in that stretch of time. So it's extremely difficult. Even getting to the playoffs, and especially getting to where we're at, going to the Super Bowl, is extremely, extremely difficult, and it just kind of tells you the team that we have and the people in the building that are all working together for one main goal.
Have you communicated with your former teammates or Brett Bielema, all with the New England Patriots?
Oh, yeah. I've talked to them. I've talked to a few of them. Talked to Coach B. We're excited. I think there's 5 of us going to be. I think there's 4 on the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah.
So there's going to be 5 of the Arkansas guys going to the Super Bowl. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty great. It's going to be fun to see those guys again. It's been a while. But I'm kind of hoping Dietrich and Trey Flowers kind of take it easy on us a little bit.
Man, it's been fun to watch those guys and the success.
They're amazing players.
Yeah, they've had. Do you and Hunter ever see each other now that he's in LA with the Chargers?
Yeah, I've seen each other in the off season a little bit. We're not as close as you think. Both being in LA, it's pretty big out here. So
true.
We're not as close as you think, especially with the traffic out here. But
I'll be right over. It'll be 90 minutes later.
Give me a
Tulsa.
couple hours. And
yeah,
you can be 10 miles away, and it'll take you an hour and a half to get there. So.
How is LA for the kid who grew up in Fayetteville?
Man, I definitely miss the Fayetteville traffic. I'll tell you that.
There's no more 15-minute commutes for you?
There is no such thing as a 15-minute commute around here.
I mean, that's like if you can't get somewhere in Fayetteville in 15 minutes, you don't even go. You know, in LA, that'll get you out of your driveway, right?
That's right. Here it takes me about 5 minutes to get out of my neighborhood around here.
I'll teach you how to be happy at home.
I'll tell you time management too.
Yeah, no kidding. If you so today's an off day for you. What's the next week or so look like to get ready for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, this is our off day. Quarterbacks went in this morning, so we get kind of a jump on film and all that, and then it'll be a regular week. Just because when you go to the Super Bowl, there's a lot of distractions and things you have to go do and events and all that. So I think we're treating this week like a regular game week in terms of game planning and practicing and all that. And then next week we'll see. We're obviously gonna be prepared and be ready, but it's gonna be a lot of things going on.
So you got any family coming out for the Super Bowl?
Working on it. Trying to get my dad and some of my uncles and brother to go. So we'll see. It's all in the process right now.
All right, man. Well, listen, great to catch up with you. Continued success to you guys and you and your career, and we'll stay in touch.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Bill. Thank you.
Thanks for hopping on with us. Brandon Allen, former Razorback quarterback, who is now on the practice squad with the Los Angeles Rams and will be part of the Super Bowl trip. And, I mean, what an experience. Sean McVay, as an offensive innovator, and for Brandon Allen to get to learn from that is it's pretty cool.
I'm kind of surprised that Brandon Allen hasn't been approached for head coaching opportunities in the NFL, because it seems everybody who is around Sean McVay has been
hilarious.
Talked to about a head coaching job.
He was next in line right after Cliff Kingsbury and all those guys. Yeah.
I think maybe Lane Kiffin said it best. I mean, you saw a round of hires a little bit in college football where you went with some veteran guys. Next year, you might see some more young hires because it's kind of what the trend is. And right now, Sean McVay is making it trendy to hire young guys. All guests join us on the First Security Bank hotline. Sean McVay turned 17 yesterday, by the way. So congratulations to the head coach of the Rams.
Almost an adult.
You can put money in savings. You can. This guy, he can't buy anything. What's your better? First Security is helping you put more money in savings. They're helping you buy homes. Maybe you need to finance a new business. Whatever it is, log on to fsbank.com today. Do you have to be 18? I don't know if Sean McVay can have an account.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Life is better with basketball. And with First Security, we have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Whether it's commercial or residential, you can count on Pickett Construction to provide quality, cost-effective services. They specialize in commercial buildings and custom homes. And if you're looking for a new home, check out Prairie Meadows Subdivision in Prairie Grove. Pickett Construction's been serving Arkansas since 2002. Licensed in 12 different states, Pickett guarantees customer satisfaction, and they have the manpower to handle any job. And in the last 17 years, there's not much they haven't done. Find them online at PickettConstruction.com. You pick it, we'll build it. The Ozarks, one incredible store featuring Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost clothing and footwear. The Ozarks, 23,000 square feet of incredible products. where every day is a sale. At the Ozarks, prices are marked down upon arrival on almost every product, which means they are immediately passing big savings on to you. Bring the whole family into the Ozarks for a shopping experience like no other. Where else can you find firearms, camo, and the hottest boutique brands all in one place? It's only at the Ozarks. They also have the best selection of gun safes in the region with free delivery within 30 miles. Don't forget, they have a live fire 15-lane indoor gun range as well. At the Ozarks, you'll find hunting and fishing supplies, bikes, kayaks, knives, boots, you name it, they've got it. So much for the whole family to discover at the Ozarks. Check out Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear, Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Be sure to follow them on social media to see what daily sales are happening at the Ozarks.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Well, I was just thinking, Hatfield, Arkansas, Ford, Arkansas, both of those guys, Clemson as well. They had some success here at Arkansas. I don't know. Chad Morris said there's a lot going on between Clemson and Arkansas. Is there any magic left in that connection? Out
Well,
third place.
the thing I'm gonna tell the people in Arkansas,
coach,
you better be patient. You better be patient.
In Tawny.
Terry Don Phillips was patient here with us. He could easily pull the trigger on us here in 2010, and probably would have set this place back for another 5 or 6 years. But he was patient enough. He stuck with us, and I would say the same thing with the people out there in Arkansas. They need to stick with Chad.
Again, on the First Security Bank
Let them
hotline,
do a good job of recruiting.
Former Razorback quarterback now
they need in there on offense. That John Chavis get the type of players they need in there on defense. I worked with John at Alabama A&M, University of Tennessee, Robert Caldwell. Not Robert Caldwell, but Steve Caldwell, and all. And those guys are good football coaches, but they need some time. They need some time. But people are not patient today, but they better be.
So Freddie Kitchens played for you. He is now the head coach at Cleveland Browns. And Dabo Sweeney won 2 national championships. Dabo mentioned this in his speech the other day. What advice, Woody, do you have for young coaches or anybody out there who's just going through their job every day and just really don't have any idea quarterback, the people that they're impacting, what could end up becoming of them one day?
It's all about the player. It's all about the player. When I decided I wanted to be a coach, and that was very early because my daddy was my high school principal, and my high school coach, everywhere Daddy went in the state of Alabama, he took Coach Mosley with him as his head coach. And Coach Mosley lived next door to us, and I saw the impact that he and Coach Mosley had on young men, and I knew early on that that's what I wanted to be able to do. And when I decided to coach, I went to Tate High School in Pensacola, and that's where I got my start. And instead of just the X's and O's and the fundamentals and the techniques,
You are dialed into Sports Talk. Get in on the show at 877-447-4040. Here is Bo Mattingly.
And I think that's even with our team. We got to play with a little more pop, a little more energy. I think that's got to be. We're an energy team. And once that energy is injected from a defensive standpoint, then we're in an attacking mode offensively as well.
Feel the beat. Feel the rhythm, Saul. There it is right there. I want some energy right now. We need some workout music. Maybe they should get some workout music at Bud Walton or in the practice facility. Pipe it through there. Get the energy going. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be like Drew Morgan and bring
in the club.
Bring the juice. There you go.
Hey, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Dudley Dawson's in studio with us, 877-447-4040. Arkansas, Missouri, Wednesday night.
Before a crowd of hundreds.
8 o'clock.
For all the popcorn. Winner gets the leftover popcorn from the concession stand. Both teams have a win in SEC play. Saul, who did these teams beat?
Well, I know that Arkansas beat Texas A&M.
So who?
I'm going to guess that
did these
Missouri
teams
beat Texas A&M.
Very good.
Also.
That's a good guess. That is a good guess.
Everybody.
Very true. They both have one win.
Texas A&M beat.
They beat, I think, Mississippi State.
Alabama on the road.
That's right. They made that buzzer beater. I did
Texas
see that. Yeah.
A&M would rather be anywhere than home. They can't win at home. They lost to both Missouri and Arkansas at home. They'd rather be anywhere but home.
Man.
How about that? That's some strange stuff right there. Can't win at home, go on the road, beat Alabama, who had beaten Kentucky, which is probably why A&M beat them.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting game for these two teams. And Missouri, they shoot the three extremely well. Number one in the league, top 15 or 16 in the country. And so Arkansas is gonna have their hands full. And Mike Anderson said they want to play fast, which sounds a little strange because when you play fast, you often give a lot of open looks up. The idea is that you get teams up and down the floor, you get into the legs a little bit. Maybe they don't shoot the three as well late. But if you get yourself in a really big hole, as Arkansas has a couple of times at Bud Walton Arena, by giving up a bunch of open looks, it could be problematic. So this team, Dudley, is still figuring out its identity. We know they're inexperienced. They have really kind of gone into a situation, though, that looks like they're nowhere near where they were earlier in the year.
Yeah, and I think that makes it even more frustrating for fans because Arkansas was picked 10th, in the preseason poll, but you come out of the gate 6-1. Isaiah Joe shooting the ball well, Mason Jones playing better than you thought he would this early in his career, and you're also getting key contributions from some other guys. But then right now they're in a stretch where they're only won 4 of their last 10 games. You've lost 4 games at home. You've lost some games on the road where you might have been competitive for a moment, but you weren't for 40 of them. And it's just I can see why it's very frustrating to fans to get to this point again. They always get to 1-3. It seems like now they're 1-4. They always make the rally. I don't know if that's going to happen this time because the rally has come against an SEC that hasn't been as good as it is right now.
Mike Anderson's winning percentage goes up around 12 to 13 points in February and March from January. They don't have great Januaries.
No, they don't. The other thing, to kind of Dudley's point, is, and you just mentioned it right there, Bo, it's not exactly going to get easier for them as they get into mid-February and March. Mid-February, they've got Mississippi State at home, Auburn on the road. They play Texas A&M at home, but then they're at Kentucky. They've got Ole Miss at home. It doesn't get easy. Like, there's not that stretch of games where you're like, okay, maybe they can make a run right there. You just have teams that are more talented and flat out better than they are right now.
And I agree with something he said, I guess, yesterday at the press conference. They have to play with more passion and intensity. They're not as talented from 1 to 9 or 1 to 10 as a lot of these other SEC teams are. So you can't go out there and basically give them a jump start and not be ready to play the game with a passion and an intensity that clearly was not there on Saturday. I saw guys diving on the floor from Ole Miss, and when they did, their teammates would rush over and pick them up, and here they'd go. I didn't see that in Arkansas, and that's some of the little things that you look at during a game while they're floundering and wonder if that's not part of the deal as well.
What's the conversation that you're most intrigued by? The big picture and where Arkansas basketball has been really since Nolan Richardson, now 8 years into Mike Anderson, or his 8th season, or this year? Are you more interested in talking about this year, or are you more interested in talking about the big picture? We're going to get into that. We're brought to you in part by Oaklawn. Its opening weekend. Live racing returns Friday with a special first post of 12:30. Dudley with double fist pumps. As I mentioned this, don't miss any of the action with Oaklawn anywhere. What?
I'm hoping we got that on camera.
Yeah, I'll be there Friday and Saturday. Pretty pumped.
Live racing is back. 3-year-olds start their journey towards the Arkansas Derby and beyond in the $150,000 Smarty Jones Stakes. Opening day, the winner gets 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby eligibility. New in 2019, rolling daily doubles. Now there are 8 daily double wagers on a 9-race card and 9 on a 10-race card. Bart, double fist pump. Once again, new members can earn $150 in sign-up bonus money by using the promo code TALK when you go and download the app, Oaklawn Anywhere. Apple users search for the new app and download it in the App Store. Oaklawn Anywhere, oaklawnanywhere.com. Another place you can go. Use the promo code
Talk.
Okay. I wanted to see how effective it was.
Okay. Long pause.
Timing's everything. What do I need to do next, Saul?
Converse.
Talk.
Talk on the show?
Yeah, that's what I need to do next. I need to
talk more.
Talk.
Yeah.
If there's dead air, what needs to happen? The promo code is
Talk.
Okay. $150 sign-up bonus, Oaklawn Anywhere, oaklawnanywhere.com. All right, which conversation are you more interested in? This year or the big picture? Arkansas basketball.
I think they kind of go hand in hand because, you looked at the start of the things, the start of Coach Anderson's tenure, there was you got to get to the tournament. You got to get to the tournament. Now they've gotten to the tournament, but you're not getting to the Sweet 16, and that's become the kind of the benchmark that you have. And as we all know, even you can be the greatest guy in the world, which I think Coach Anderson is, but familiarity breeds contempt. And as long as you've had frustrating seasons that have had these middle things that we've talked about where they've had to rally, it gets old. And I realize that's why a lot of people are speaking out and wanting a change no matter what goes on the rest of the year.
Well, last night, here's what went on in Knoxville.
Here comes Monk. 6 seconds to go. Monk pulls up the jumper, hits it. Arkansas with the lead with 3.3. The go-ahead basket by the senior from Arkansas.
Mike Neighbors' team goes on the road. Malika Monk, 23 points, including the game-winning jumper there. 3.6 seconds to play. 80-79. They beat a ranked Tennessee team, and you can tell Mike Neighbors has this team pointed in the right direction. We'll talk to the Arkansas women's head coach when we come back.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
The 2019 Razorback track and field season is here as the historic program begins its chase for a 44th national title. Season tickets to all 8 regular season indoor and outdoor meets are just $40 and include some of the best collegiate track meets in the world. Secure your season tickets today and receive a limited edition Track Capital of the World pint glass. Fans 17 and under receive free admission at each regular season home meet. Join the chase for the national title at ArkansasRazorbacks.com.
Life is better with basketball and with First Security. We have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Because he can recruit, and Terry Don knew that.
Yeah, Terry. The thing that Terry Don saw was he told me after I got here, he said when he went around the building over there, he noticed how not only Dabo position players, but all the other guys on offense, guys on defense was all around his office. And he needed somebody to galvanize this team at that time with the resignation of Tommy Bowden to bring this thing together. But Dabo, once I got here, I saw the number of guys that he had recruited. It was amazing. And starting with C.J. Spiller. And that was one of the biggest things that happened and transformed this place in terms of recruiting. And Dabo was able to do that with C.J.
Woody McCorvey's our guest, Clemson Associate AD for Football Administration, mentor Dabo Swinney. Dabo pointed that out when he was winning and receiving the Coach of the Year award. How was Dabo Swinney so good at recruiting at Clemson, even when Clemson wasn't a particular – they've always been a national brand, but they weren't anything like you are now.
Dabo is such an optimist. He's full of energy all the time. Not one day does he come in this building and he's not full of life and energy. And that transcends into this whole building, the coaching staff, everybody that works here. And when he goes out on the road, he never meets a stranger. He does a great job when he goes in high school with the high school coaches, people in the building, secretaries, you know, the maintenance people and all. I mean, they get to know him and they love him. And, you know, when we bring people in here to recruit them, I mean, he knows the mom, the dad, the brothers, the sisters, can call them all by their name. And it's amazing to me with his recall that he has and the type of personality that he has. People just, you know, they just come to him. And he's done a very good job with this staff by keeping them here. They know the type of people that we want in this program. Now players help us recruit them, and he's done a tremendous job at that. And that's been a big thing and a big factor in order for us to be able to do what we're doing.
How would you describe, and maybe you have a little bit already, but how would you describe what's happened at Clemson?
Well, Bo, when I was here, you know, I was here before I went to Alabama. So I spent 7 years here on Danny Ford's staff before I went to Tuscaloosa. And I really believe this. I truly believe this. In 1981, I was not here at the time. I came here in 83. And this is a very, very good program. And I think if things hadn't happened to us, we had won 3 ACC championships back-to-back, 86, 87, 88. And, you know, if we had stayed here, I believe we could have won another national championship in 90 or 91. That's the type of players that we had here in this program when Coach Hatfield came in, and it didn't work out. But, you know, they kind of wandered around in the wilderness for 20-some years, and then all of a sudden Dabo gets a chance, and the one thing that he did, he galvanized his community. He galvanized this state. He galvanized this region. And he started inviting old players back on a weekend early in the season when we have our tour days and all, got them back involved. You know, he wanted to know something about the history of this program. He wanted the kids that's in this program now to know.
And now, the Ozark Outpost Casual Clothing and Footwear Hog Update.
Here comes Monk. 6 seconds to go. Monk pulls up the jumper, hits it. Arkansas with the lead with 3.3. The go-ahead basket by the senior from Arkansas.
A thrilling win for the women on the road at Tennessee Monday night.
The kids on the court just fought their guts out. To be, I don't know where the rebound stood, but it gave us a chance to win because we got enough of them.
Next up, Alabama on Thursday. The men looking for their second conference win against Missouri on Wednesday.
They're going to come in, they're going to get after you defensively and rebound the basketball with Tillman inside. The Geist kid is playing better. Whereas our team, we need to get into we need to play a total good game. That's what I'm looking for our guys.
The Tigers picked up their first SEC win over the weekend. Tip-off between Arkansas and Missouri, 8 p.m. at Bud Walton Arena. And John Scott Jr. is headed to South Carolina. The Hogs defensive line coach hired for the same position with the Gamecocks. Scott is a South Carolina native and spent the last 2 seasons at Arkansas. I'm Alyssa Orange for the Pig Trail Nation, and that's your Hog Update.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Thanks, Alyssa. The update's brought to you by Ozark Sportsman Supply, your go-to store for all your work clothing needs and footwear. They're your Carhartt headquarters. They've got a huge selection of Carhartt and the best brands of women's and men's clothing and footwear. And they've also got the Valentine's sweepstakes happening now. Between now and Valentine's Day, get in. You could win something special along with some great shopping and great deals at the Ozarks, Highway 412, just outside of Springdale. Barely west of Springdale in Tawnytown on Highway 412. All right, let's go to the First Security Bank hotline. And we welcome in Mike Neighbors, fresh off an exciting win last night. Let's listen.
That's a big step for us. That's a domino we've knocked down now, and we can go into some games like this with more confidence that we can win and win a clutch one. That's our 5th game this year that's been gone down to the last possession, either needing to score and stop or both. So we're growing up.
Big win last night. Previously ranked Tennessee team. Malika Monk hits a game winner late. Coach, are you breathing okay?
Yeah, no pulled muscles this time, Bo. You know, last time we hit a game winner, I tore my calf in two, but I've really matured and grown up, and I celebrated like a champ last night. A couple of high fives, but that was about it.
You're 14-5, 3-2 in SEC play on the season. You mentioned all the close games you've been in. How would you describe where you guys are?
In a real confident spot. Last night when those things happened, we built a pretty good lead, only to have them, kind of rally late there in the third quarter and early fourth quarter and take a 5-point lead. But our kids stayed really calm. They were very poised, confident that we could get it going. So I think we're in a good spot. We'd come off of a bye week that gave us some time to get school started, and I really like how our roles are coming together, and we're starting to shoot the ball a little bit better.
Second time in program history that Arkansas has won in Knoxville. I know it's not the Pat Summitt days, but that's still a really big win for a program that has been through what Arkansas has been through. And really all these wins are important. I mean, you guys work so hard. People don't always realize the work and the effort that goes in. When you can figure out a way to win games like this, what does that help you do as a coach as you're trying to get your team to believe and see where you're going?
Oh, they just are very receptive to it. And, that reward that you get from coming out on top, the outpouring of people on text messages, all the kids were on the plane, saying it was one of the only games in women's basketball last night. There was only about 6 games, so a lot of people were watching. Everybody's phone was filled. I had 488 text messages. Try to get back to all of them. I'm still working on that. But, every one of the kids, you got Daniel Gafford tweeting at you. Our girls love that. They love Gaff and people like that. So, it's rewarding when you find a way to win them, because when you lose those games, you have 4 text messages. That's just the way we are in today's.
Do you want text messages when you lose?
I don't mind them. They're usually pick me ups, and I'm okay with them. You kind of figure out who your real friends are, because that's when you get those. And
I feel terrible. I feel terrible. Dudley's in here. He feels terrible.
We'll give you 5.
I think that was a direct shot at Dudley and I.
No, it was not. It was not a direct shot at anybody at all. No, I get it. I'm that same way. I've got coaching friends. I know what their cooling off period is, but mine's usually pretty quick. So, I like the fact that our group's expecting to win too, Bo. I mean, they expected to go into Tennessee and win, and I don't think very many of us, if we're being 100% honest with ourselves, circle that one on your calendar and go, oh yeah, there's a win for the Lady Razorbacks. So I love it that our kids are getting to that point to where they don't feel like an underdog, even though the odds makers or the point spread people may say that. They certainly don't play like that and haven't carried themselves like that, and that's a good step for us.
More on your team in a moment. Mike Neighbors, Arkansas women's basketball coach, with us, fresh off a last-second shot, 3.6 seconds to go to win the game in Knoxville last night. I want to go back to the psychology of when we all text people, because this is fascinating. It really is to me, because I in the past have, when somebody's lost that's a friend of mine or whatever, I've texted, I've deleted, I've texted. Is it that we don't know what to say? What do we do there? Because it's easy to go, hey, congrats. You don't want to send that text after they lose. You're not going to say, hey, congrats. It's like, hey, keep your head up, and nobody. Sure. I mean, some people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it's you really need to know that person for sure. I'm the same way you are. I've got some friends I text immediately, and I've got some friends that need a week to cool off. So, I think we're all different when it comes to that. But I certainly appreciate those ones that come that are very, that are well thought out, that get the big picture of it. Like I said, I get more of a response because I've only got 4 to respond to, so people get bigger responses from me rather than some copy paste. Maybe I think my friends know which ones are copied and pasted and which ones are real too after a win.
Well, I want you to know.
We're getting into the psychology of that. I think we got to examine both sides of this. Defense and the plaintiff side. We got to have a full court case here.
I made the big decision not to text any of my New Orleans Saints fans after the game.
Man.
Yeah, that was wise. I think you played that one correctly there.
What about the official? How many texts do you think he got?
You can sue.
Yeah.
What do you think his text messages were like after the game?
He's probably deleted.
I want you to know, Mike, I am sitting on your next loss. I'm waiting. I'm sitting on it.
So you're saying there's going to be one,
in fact, I'm probably going to type something really thoughtful up here in the next few days just so I have it ready.
Yeah. In case. Just have it ready.
Yeah.
Just fill, copy and paste. I'm okay with that. I will be fully expecting. It's funny. I can always tell when people have sent it to me ahead of time. Yeah, I can tell. I'll be able to see through your BS if you do that. I promise.
It's like, I'm going to have pictures and stuff.
Good.
Yeah. I'm going to have a presentation. Maybe a PowerPoint motivational, some great link to Inky Johnson or somebody, It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I will. It'll give me something to look forward to soften the blow the next time we do lose one.
So what is this makeup of your team that you are discovering or have discovered? And you've talked a little bit about it in interviews and how's your group coming together? And I know you get to see that in a way. A lot of fans get invested in well, how good is this team or whatever. From a coach's perspective, it's a little bit different.
It is. And, when you see them in practice on a daily basis, and we've talked about year 2 is always a really tough year, Bo, because you got a bunch of newcomers with a bunch of kids that stayed here through the program change and were here last year, and we're stacked up on each other. And, we're long enough into the season now that you're starting to see more high fives, more physical touches, more pats on the back, more acknowledgments of good pass, helping each other up on charges. You were talking about that earlier when I was listening in. You're starting to see some of those things that are evidence. You can't make kids do that. I can't make kids do that. They have to want to do that, and it has to happen organically for it to be real. And we're starting to get that. You're starting to see Dungy and Mal play together out there at the top of our attack so efficiently. They were, in the fourth quarter, so good last night at setting each other up and putting each other in great situations to be effective. And then, a kid like Jalen Mason, who's just steady for her whole career, hits a clutch 3 to get it back to a one-possession game. So I think our roles, we identified them early in the year. I think it's been a little slow for some of the kids to maybe accept and understand and really start to execute. But, man, I think we got seven or 8 kids that are filling those roles right now. Way better than I think any of us could have ever hoped for in the middle of January. We had a tough start to the SEC scheduling with the way it was set up, opening with Mississippi State and then having a bunch of road games and then a long break. For us to be 3-2 right now really puts us in a good spot. Now we get a chance to see if we can handle a little success. This is a new thing for this team. Nobody on this team has had 488 text messages after a big win and expectations of, now at home. Hey, you got Alabama at home, and everybody's expecting you to win when, again, we're going to be an underdog probably. But we'll see how we handle success, and it'll be a chance for us to see if we've learned anything.
How do you deal with that as the coach when you make that switch over to, all right, you guys have had some success, and we can all say it, right? We've all seen the movie. But how are you dealing with it?
Well, you make sure that you put them in positions in practice where they've got to fight through it. We'll have our guys' practice team in there tomorrow, being the best team they can possibly be. We'll get the 5 best of those. Sometimes, we kind of mix and match and try to give ourselves a chance to build a little confidence. That won't be the case tomorrow. We'll put those 5 best guys out there and tell them to go because that's what we're going to get on Thursday night with Alabama. So, you've got to put them in situations where they can be prepared in practice. We said that last night. Everybody wanted to know why we didn't take the time out and advance it to the sideline and try to run a play there. But we practice Mal going the length of the floor a lot because she's so good at it. So we'll try to simulate in practice as many things as we can, and we'll talk about it. I think you do have to talk about it. I think if you ignore it and you don't have that conversation with their kids, then they're not as equipped to handle it. So we'll try to give them some techniques, try to give them some experiences that have Sierra Ricketts talking to those guys about. They wanted. She was on the team the last time they won at Tennessee. We were talking about that last night, letting her talk to those kids about what comes next, and so that when those situations come up, our kids are ready, they're prepared, and they're not emotional about it. They're very tactical, and then I think they can go out and perform better.
Mike, along those lines, I think as a coach, a lot of times, or a leader, it's easy to say, well, this isn't that complicated, or we don't have time, so we're just going to talk about this. And then we're going to work on and practice these other things that are actually really important. And it's my understanding, and I might be wrong, but is it your philosophy that you feel like you have to practice everything you actually are going to do? You don't just talk about it.
Yeah, we do. I just think that's the easiest form of learning. Talk about it, and you can certainly draw it up, but until they can do it and function on their own without guidance from us, then they haven't really got it understood. If they can't explain it back to us and can't go out there and do it on their own without us having to call out every action and every situation, then we're not there yet. And that's kind of how, you've been around Coach Schaefer enough to know how meticulous he is. And when we're in practice, I'll ask him, hey, are we ready? He goes, no, we need to go through this some more. Because he knows that if he's having to coach them through these actions on how we're going to defend something, we're not ready to defend it yet. And I know on the offensive side, if I'm having to tell a kid which cut to make or which read to make, we're not ready to do it against live defense yet. So I am firmly convinced that if you haven't done it in practice repeatedly, I don't know why we would ever expect them to be able to do it in a game. That just does not make any logical sense to me, that you can ask a kid to go out and do it under the pressure and in the lights and all the things that magnify in a game. If they haven't had success doing it in a closed gym under controlled circumstances without all that pressure. So we try to create as many game situations as we can in practices and hope those things carry over. And I think this group has been remarkable at doing that.
Coach, congratulations once again. Great win on the road. Looking forward to seeing what's next. And either way, we're going to be texting.
I love it. I'll be not looking forward to it, but looking forward to it.
I hear you. All right. We'll talk soon, man. Thank you. All right. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See you.
All right. Later. Mike Neighbors, women's basketball coach. It's hard if you talk to Mike and you see what he's doing and you hear what he's all about. And honestly, we'll call it like it is. In women's basketball, especially where Arkansas has been over the last couple of decades, not everybody's sitting around talking about that like we would be if it was a college football coach. But if you do take the time, and I think you've heard it on this show with him, this is a forward-thinking guy who's on the cutting edge of a lot of things, and not just X's and O's, but how he handles people, how he motivates. And I will be shocked if over the next couple of years you don't continue to see big strides with the women's basketball program, because this guy knows what he's doing.
That's right. And he's taking a team to the Final Four, knows what he's doing.
Mike Neighbors, women's basketball coach. All guests join us on the First Security Bank hotline. Remember, when your friends lose, they want to hear from you.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
The Ozarks, one incredible store featuring Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear. The Ozarks, 23,000 square feet of incredible products, where every day is a sale. At the Ozarks, prices are marked down upon arrival on almost every product, which means they are immediately passing big savings on to you. Bring the whole family into the Ozarks for a shopping experience like no other. Where else can you find firearms, camo, and the hottest boutique brands all in one place? It's only at the Ozarks. They also have the best selection of gun safes in the region with free delivery within 30 miles. Don't forget, they have a live fire 15-lane indoor gun range as well. At the Ozarks, you'll find hunting and fishing supplies, bikes, kayaks, knives, boots, you name it, they've got it. So much for the whole family to discover at the Ozarks. Check out Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear, Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Be sure to follow them on social media to see what daily sales are happening at the Ozarks.
And they're off at Oaklawn in Hot Springs. We're oh so ready for racing.
Oh so ready, on the engine and pumped up.
Oaklawn's live season starts Friday, January 25th. and we're ready to showcase the very best in thoroughbred racing this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Past the furlong marker, oh so ready is 5 lengths in front.
Gates open at 11 a.m. every day. On Saturday the 26th, enjoy one of our legendary corned beef sandwiches for just 50 cents. And remember, we're racing all the way to May 4th, so stay until May. Oaklawn Gaming is open every day at 8 a.m. with more new games and more good times. So don't miss the nonstop excitement. We're oh so ready for another thrilling season of live thoroughbred racing beginning January 25th.
Oh so ready, the one to catch. Oh so ready.
At Oaklawn, Arkansas's favorite place to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
You just got to know how to get the ball to your playmaker. Distribute the ball, get the ball to your hands quickly, and just be able to do the little things right. Take care of the football, and be able to take shots downfield, because I think that's where this offense has the potential to explode, is when you can take shots. That's what we were able to do at SMU. So I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that here. So.
Was last year challenging just from a changing offense perspective?
Yes, sir. It's different. You got to get used to, how certain things, play out with the new coaching staff. Whether that's, play calling, style of coaching, all those things that play into that. So it's kind of a learning process, and it happens quick, and you just gotta, go with the punches. And it got easier as the year went on, but obviously it's difficult when the new coaching staff first gets there.
What did Coach Morris tell you about where you'll be on the depth chart coming in?
It didn't tell me anything. I'm coming here to compete and do anything and everything I can to help this team win games, and that's all I'm focused on.
It was a struggle last year for Arkansas at quarterback. You think you can change that?
I think so, yes, sir. I think I just come in and be a good leader, do what I'm supposed to do, handle my business, take it one day at a time, and I'll be just fine. And, like I said, I'm here to do anything and everything I can to help this football.
Your go-to Valentine's, now on Valentine's Day, a great deal just outside of Springdale, in Tawnytown on Highway 412. All right.
Now, time for the SEC Report.
Somebody said we've got SEC bias. Deal with it. They're the best.
Here's Bo Mattingly.
Bart is worried about Barry Bonds getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to make it.
Really? You think he will?
I'm not.
I'll give $5 to anybody if you can figure out a way to tie that into the SEC report. Like, what about Barry Bonds?
He once played with Will Clark, who played at Mississippi State.
That's a reach. It's too much of a reach. No $5 for you. Saul, your turn.
I was going to say Bart is currently at a location that's in the SEC. And he's the subject of your story there, sort of. That's the best I got.
No. I'll tell you what. The right answer is we don't need one.
That's right. We do what we want.
Is he going to get in the Hall of Fame?
So
this isn't the SEC. Hold on. No, go ahead.
Okay. So there is a website that tracks Hall of Fame ballots that have been made public. Tonight, the reason I'm talking about this tonight is when the inductees will be announced by the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's currently got 71% of the vote. You need 75% to make it to the Hall of Fame, with 56% of the ballots known. So if he's on enough of the ballots that we don't know about, then yeah, he will get into the Hall of Fame. It's going to be close, I think.
71%, 75%.
Roger Clemens, 71% as well.
Those numbers right there, is that higher or lower than the amount of times he tested positive? I can't say it. For a drug. Okay, Tennessee's won 12 straight games. That's the SEC report. Oh, there are also 2 league teams in SEC basketball that don't have a conference road win, Vanderbilt and Georgia, which means everybody else does, which is a little unusual. There are a lot of teams winning away from home this year, and Arkansas has played a role in this a little bit because they haven't been quite as good at home as they've been in previous years.
You are listening to Sports Talk, produced by Bart Pullman, directed by Sire Radler. Want the latest commentary, interviews, takes, and phone calls?
Anytime, anywhere.
Check out Sports Talk Primetime, Arkansas's premier sports talk podcast. Find it on iTunes or online at sportandstory.com.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
What's your more? Maybe it's more early morning duck calls at your own private duck club. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $50 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Ahead to Gafford. How about a windmill?
Hog fans, head coach Mike Anderson and the Razorbacks are back in Bud Walton Arena on Wednesday, January 23rd for their matchup against Missouri. Tip-off is 8 p.m. Arkansas is led by sophomore sensation Daniel Gafford, and the Hogs are looking to go back to the NCAA tournament for the 3rd year in a row. You can purchase your tickets today by going to ArkansasRazorbacks.com or over the phone at 1-800-982-HOGS.
The Ozarks, one incredible store featuring Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear. The Ozarks, 23,000 square feet of incredible products, where every day is a sale. At the Ozarks, prices are marked down upon arrival on almost every product, which means they are immediately passing big savings on to you. Bring the whole family into the Ozarks for a shopping experience like no other. Where else can you find firearms, camo, and the hottest boutique brands all in one place? It's only at the Ozarks. They also have the best selection of gun safes in the region with free delivery within 30 miles. Don't forget, they have a live fire 15-lane indoor gun range as well. At the Ozarks, you'll find hunting and fishing supplies, bikes, kayaks, knives, boots, you name it, they've got it. So much for the whole family to discover at the Ozarks. Check out Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear, Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Be sure to follow them on social media to see what daily sales are happening at the Ozarks.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Did you look at the personnel, the receivers Arkansas has on its roster, receivers coming in as part of your decision?
Yes, sir. I mean, we obviously Coach Morris and Coach Craddock are really high on the class they just signed, and they're obviously really high on the guys they already have. So, we talked about that, through the recruiting process, and obviously, an exciting time.
How would you describe yourself, Ben, for people just getting to know you?
I'm a hard-working kid, come from a hard-working family, and, I'm compete really hard. I'm going to play really hard. I'm going to play tough. And, that's all I know is football. And, I love this game, and I'm looking forward to playing this game at the University of Arkansas.
What's your favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Got to be Friday Night Lights.
All right. Yeah. Did you go to high school in Texas?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Were you on the show?
The show or the movie?
Either one. Were you in the movie or there's both, right?
Yeah, there's a show and a movie. I was not in either of them, but I've watched both of them many times.
Do you have a favorite sports documentary, like a series or, any of these things, like Last Chance U?
Hard Knocks. I love
Hard Knocks?
Love watching Hard Knocks. Last Chance U is good too. Isn't that the Team Board from CSU, huh?
Yeah. So you're like a football junkie kind of. Like you love the behind the scenes. You love just seeing the grind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, good luck. As a graduate transfer, I know you've got just a whole bunch of hours of classes, so we wish you well and all the books and stuff. Just kidding. But has it been a dream to play in the SEC?
Again, Lamonte's been a big part of our success that we've had since he's been here, and we knew we were going to need him as we continue to go. But to be who we want to be, it's going to take everyone understanding exactly what their role is and wanting to be the best they can be in that role and do it every night. And that's hard to do. And we're not going to be perfect, and I don't expect us to be perfect, but I do expect us to try to make the right play all the time. I mean, we weren't very good with our defensive transition. We've gotten better in offensive transition, obviously getting out. That's one of the reasons we've shot a higher percentage this year. But we can be better. And if we don't get better, we won't have the year that we want to have. And I would say that, we're still in the first 2 weeks of January. There's a long way to go, And like I told the guys when I walked in tonight, I said, I'll be disappointed if you guys aren't disappointed in the way we played overall the whole game, because Arkansas won the game in the second half. They beat us. And whether it's mental, physical, whatever it may be, we lost the second half of that game.
Rick, you referenced yesterday that you think Lamonte can be a really good defensive guard. It seemed like he had that on his mind.
I think he could be as good a defensive guard as there is in the country if he wants to do it. If he'll be solid and not try to go for steals and not put himself in foul trouble. One, because he's competitive. There's no doubt that Lamonte is and that's one of his strengths, is that he's not afraid to hop up there and try to guard somebody and do that. And you need that. And if you get one guy to do it, it's just like running.
I know you're going to dig this.
They took the slobbering hog off the floor. Something else changed. Where all this started going south.
Well, if they get to winning, it'll come back.
The slobbering hog or what?
Yeah.
Am I slobbering right now? I feel like I'm slobbering.
This It's all dope here. is
Answer me now.
No way. Sports Talk. We need to hire a batter coach up there. Wow.
From the Fleet Center of Arkansas Studios, find the right vehicle for the job.
I'm speaking facts. How about a little decorum in here on a work day?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Hey guys, Bart Pullman in here, stepping in for Bo for the next couple of segments. He'll be back. Don't worry. I got Dudley in here. Saw's in here. We're gonna chop it up with some Hog basketball conversation.
We just have this simple segment where if you're under 5'6", you can't be on it. So
Dudley's got
he's got some jokes.
He's got jokes. He's here. He's ready to go. The Arkansas basketball conversation continues to evolve and continues to be really interesting to me because I think there are a lot of different things going on. I think and I'm talking big picture here. There's the historical conversation of what Arkansas basketball has been under two coaches and what they've been under everybody else. And that's part of the conversation. And the other part of the conversation is what's going on right now. And I'll get into that. Chris Spatola, ESPN, we played this for you earlier today, was on the show yesterday and had some really strong opinions about Razorback basketball. I want to play just one of those clips for you right now.
Take this from somebody who is sees every team and has a universal opinion on college basketball in general. Arkansas should demand more. I mean, Arkansas should be one of the best teams perennially in the SEC. It is an institution in college basketball. It has great tradition. Arkansas should be better. There's no question about that.
Is that true? 877-447-4040, the number. We'll be taking your calls. So here's, Dudley, why I think it's a conversation involving both the past and the present. The past, because Arkansas has only ever been great at basketball under Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson. Everybody knows that. That was under everybody else, they have been average to not great. That's just the historical.
Having done a book on the University of Arkansas basketball from 19 to 23 on, there have been approximately 16 great seasons.
And a lot of those came under those two coaches.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And is it about those coaches or is it about the program? That's part of the conversation. And that's part of what is driving fans' frustration with Razorback basketball. The other part is what's happening in college basketball right now. So if you look at the latest top 25, right, you have programs like Tennessee, Nevada, Virginia Tech, Texas Tech, Buffalo, Auburn, Houston, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and LSU in the top 25. And so I totally get, if you're a Razorback fan, looking at that being like, this is crap. Like, what's going on? Why are we not in that conversation? And so it makes it really hard for Razorback fans right now, I think, to be level-headed about where the basketball program is.
Yeah, and certainly the level of expectation that Coach Sutton and Coach Richardson brought to this university has not certainly been achieved over the course of the last 20 years or so. And there's no doubt about that, whether it was the great coaches or coaches in a great situation, whatever. But I understand fans, and again, as we were talking about earlier, I think the number of years that go into a tenure, and this is obviously number 8. You look and you grade the 8 years. Some people look at the last 4 years. More people are looking at the last 8 years. If they beat North Carolina and get into the Sweet 16, maybe people are feeling a little bit better. But then maybe you're saying, well, he hadn't been to the Elite Eight. If he got to the Elite Eight, well, maybe he hadn't been to the Final Four.
Right.
But I can understand the frustration, and as I said earlier, for that familiarity, I think at times, and everybody thinks he's a great guy, but I think there are people who, especially in this day and age, who just like a change, who just like something different. Sure. It's happened at Tennessee. You got to give Rick Barnes a lot of credit. I think 7 of his top 9 players are 3-star guys. They weren't great recruits, but they turned out to be great fits, and he hit on them. And obviously, they're grown men out there playing. And you look at Ole Miss and Kermit Davis, who is one of the better X's and O coach out there. His problem has been getting into trouble off the court. Has come in and really his team has bought in. They've got 3 new guys. I think there's 7-man rotation, and obviously the center took Arkansas to school on Saturday. You see these quick turnarounds, and you want that for yourself. And I think also that you have to believe that going 2-10 in football, winning 6 of the last 26 games. Arkansas getting to the College World Series and
it's
the
all
foul
just
ball,
piling on,
it just
man.
all goes into one big mix.
I will say this about other programs in the SEC, and I'm not going to name specific programs. They cheating though. They are cheating, and it is.
Some of them got caught.
Yeah, and if you really pay attention to like college basketball, you talk to people in college basketball circles, it's only a matter of time before some of these SEC programs that you're seeing have some success, and they're going to get busted.
I'm seeing more and more on our message board where, people are saying, Coach Anderson's a great man and he's going to do everything right, and we're happy about that. But maybe if he could just buy a couple of players, that everything would be all right. So, again, the longer the frustration goes, people want him to become, let's just say Calipari or something. So
yeah, and I mean, look, I don't think you should ever root for your team to cheat. I think that's kind of That's not a great mindset to have.
You do have to step on the line, though.
Oh, you've got to be all over the line and maybe even tiptoe across the line. You don't want to be doing, though, what some schools are doing and just, using bagmen and running payments. And, I mean, there's a long history of that in college basketball. A lot of it's been exposed in the last year or so.
Yeah. And the big thing we're going to find out is what Hunter Yurchek says about all this. I think he's done a really good job since he's gotten here of keeping his thoughts to himself on key issues. That maybe was not the case with the previous athletic director or director of athletics / vice chancellor, all those things they gave him. But I think that anybody who thinks they know what he's thinking is probably just guessing right now.
Right. I will say this. If Arkansas misses the NCAA tournament this year, which they are on track to do, it's going to bring up a lot of uncomfortable questions for people. And I use the word uncomfortable to mean difficult. Because you do, at that point, you have to look at 8 years, and you have to look at where you've been and what you've done and whether or not that's good enough.
Well, we've already had one discussion during these 8 years on staff, and Scotty Thurman was added to the staff. Obviously, Matt Zimmerman was put in director of basketball operations. I think that's certainly something that could be brought to the forefront again here at the end of this year. I'm not going to say he's surviving. I'm not going to say he's getting fired. There's just a lot of basketball left to go. But I do think, as you said, if they don't get in the NCAA tournament, and boy, that's going to be a tough chore now. And yes, if they have this turnaround they've had each year, then maybe they put themselves in there, and that just brings on the frustration more. But I think there will have to be some changes one way or the other.
And the reason it becomes a conversation is because you look ahead to next year and you see the product you're seeing on the court right now without Daniel Gafford. And that's going to leave a lot of people really scratching their heads and wondering, what exactly is going on. The bottom line is Arkansas hasn't recruited well enough. Consistently. Let me be sure to add that word in there. Arkansas hasn't consistently recruited well enough and managed the roster well enough to be in a position to have success at this point.
Yeah, and I think that the last point you just made there, I think this is the biggest thing. I think this is the group that came in last year or came in this year is a very good group. It's a top 25 group, as you said, that only made them 7th in the SEC. So you're kind of fighting uphill all along. They were ranked number 1 there for the longest time because it was early and they had the Fab Five and then Reggie Perry and suddenly ends up with Ben Howland and after a trip to Seth Greenberg to Italy.
Wonder how that happened.
Yeah, but but I think that's the second thing is the biggest deal, and the roster management. Some of it being coach's fault, some of it being flighty kids who hear something and think they need to go play elsewhere. You look at the people that are out there playing now that left here simply because they weren't getting 20 minutes their freshman year.
Yeah. And people will blame Mike Anderson for some of that. I don't believe that to be fair. But the process of replacing those guys has been where there's been something left to be desired.
Yeah, and Jimmy Whitt, in part, he left because Jalen Barford and Daryl Macon were coming. That's just a simple statement that he's made, privately and all that, because he wanted to have a fresh start, and he's done fairly well down there at SMU. There's just a lot of different situations. Darius Hall was ridiculous. I like the kid, but people got in his ear and made it seem like DePaul was
as I called it last week, the second most bizarre thing to happen to Razorback basketball in the last 8 years. The first being Ja'Cory Williams throwing a shoe onto the court.
DePaul becoming an interesting thing. Cartier Gordon, who was at St. Louis and one of their most heralded recruits, but has had issues on and off the court, is now going to DePaul. There's going to be a transfer at DePaul. So it's an interesting group they've got going on up there.
Dave Leitao, the head coach at DePaul. Dave Leitao, an interesting cat, a Frank Haith assistant.
Yeah, was once there and went away and came back and is coaching again. He also had a tight end that his son was a tight end in Tulsa that Arkansas recruited. He ended up going elsewhere, but it's DePaul trying to make a comeback one way or the other.
Dave Leitao, never been impressive as a head coach, by the way. Two NCAA tournament appearances to his name and a lot of losing seasons. So good luck with that. guys at DePaul. See how that works out for you. Okay, let's take some calls on this. 877-447-4040, the number. Robert is in Fayetteville. Robert, welcome in.
Hey, guys. Well, it kind of stole some of my thunder there, Bart. It's all about recruiting to me, and I called in on this last week, but I'm glad Dudley's there now. The recruiting is, they had a top 25 class last year. That was great, but missing on these elite players for the last 5 years has really hurt us. Not just
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You
bled out. You said the missing on the right before you said the missing on.
Yeah, missing on the elite players. Not just to Kentucky, but to Mississippi State, to Missouri, elite players out of Arkansas. I'm talking about. That to me has really been a telling point because, basketball is different in that you get a couple of really great players. Bobby Portis is a great example. You get some really top-notch players out of our state, and things are going to turn for the better pretty quick.
Hey, Robert, let me just real quick. I want you to be able to continue your thought. I want to clear up something though, just because I've heard it a couple of times this week and last week. I just want to make sure everybody understands. Reggie Perry is from Georgia. He played AAU ball with these guys on Arkansas's team.
Yeah.
But he stated his reason for going to Mississippi State that he wanted to be closer to home, which is
and his dad played there.
And his dad played at Mississippi State as well. So he is not. I just want to make sure to clear that up for everybody who has the misunderstanding that he's from Arkansas because he played with those guys. He's from Georgia. Go ahead.
Okay, gotcha. Well, still, to me, it's just missing on the big guys. The guys are going to really be a program turnaround kind of guys. And, if Mike was like Rick Barnes and could pull in 3 stars and develop and be number one, great. But I don't see that right now. I don't see any indication. And I'd like to ask Dudley, and I'm just hearing this. I don't know if this is true. Is the number one player from Arkansas already committed to another state or another school next year, and for the 2020 class as well? Is that correct? Or
Devontae Davis is one of the top 2020 kids in Arkansas. He's a junior at Jacksonville. He's committed to Oklahoma State. Arkansas offered him a scholarship. I don't know that they went after him as hard as maybe they have Chris Moore, Gerald Dokes, and some of the other kids that are in Arkansas that are in that 2020 class. As far as the 2019 class, the number one player in the state is already enrolled up here.
Okay. All right. Well, to me, still, it's just about recruiting. It always has been, always will be, and putting guys in the NBA too. I think that's a huge thing. I know that Mike is probably getting nailed on the recruiting trail by some of these other coaches using that against him.
Well, it could be. Daryl Macon now playing for the Dallas Mavericks, had his first points the other night. Jalen Barford is in the G League and has the opportunity to come up. And obviously you've got Portis playing. Qualls is overseas. A lot of the other kids are overseas.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your input on that. I just still feel like we're missing out on some of the great talent we have in this state.
Yeah, Robert. Hey, thanks for the call. I want to hit a break. I appreciate you weighing in, and I think you make a valid point that is again part of the larger conversation that Arkansas has missed on in-state guys, and for whatever reason, whether it was because they went to Kentucky because as John Calipari once famously said, it's Kentucky. Of course, if you get offered by Kentucky, you're going. If Kentucky offers you a job or a scholarship or whatever, you are going to go. I want to make sure to separate those two things. You're going to go to Kentucky. It's Kentucky, unless you've just been a diehard Razorback fan your entire life, like a Bobby Portis or somebody. But whatever the reason that a Malik Monk or an Archie Goodwin or a Kayvon Allen, whatever the reason is that those guys left the state, they did. And that feeds into the whole story. And it has to be a part of the story. The transfers, the roster management, missing on those guys, the NCAA tournament results, it's all part of the story, whether that is fair or not. That's the way it is. We got to hit a short break, but we're going to continue taking your calls. 877-447-4040, going straight to the phones when we come back.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Hey there, this is Travis Tollett from Williams Tractor in Fayetteville, Williams Tractor in Berryville, and Bobcat in Northwest Arkansas and Rogers. It's finally 2019, and it's never too early to start planning for the upcoming season. Come see us during the Kick the Tires event going on now for great in-store deals and finance options on all New Holland equipment. Choose from New Holland tractors, hay and forage equipment, harvesting, seeding, spraying, or construction equipment. But it all ends March 31st, so hurry in to check out the savings during the Kick the Tires event at Williams Tractor in Fayetteville, Berryville, or Bobcat in Northwest Arkansas and Rogers.
Gentlemen, when it comes to your health, there are numbers every man needs to know. Do you know your numbers? I know mine. I went to the Low T Center. They make it quick and easy to get all your levels checked. It's even covered by most health insurance. If you've been feeling tired and grumpy, have noticed weight gain and a loss of muscle mass, you need to get your levels checked. Low T Center physicians specialize in men's health and are reinventing men's health care. Call 479-439-9485. That's 479-439-9485. Or go to lowtcenter.com. The Ozarks, one incredible store featuring Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear. The Ozarks, 23,000 square feet of incredible products, where every day is a sale. At the Ozarks, prices are marked down upon arrival on almost every product, which means they are immediately passing big savings on to you. Bring the whole family into the Ozarks for a shopping experience like no other. Where else can you find firearms, camo, and the hottest boutique brands all in one place? It's only at the Ozarks. They also have the best selection of gun safes in the region with free delivery within 30 miles. Don't forget, they have a live fire 15-lane indoor gun range as well. At the Ozarks, you'll find hunting and fishing supplies, bikes, kayaks, knives, boots, you name it, they've got it. So much for the whole family to discover at the Ozarks. Check out Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Clothing and Footwear, Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Be sure to follow them on social media to see what daily sales are happening at the Ozarks.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
You know, Chad Morris has talked about Clemson being the blueprint at Arkansas. You've obviously seen Morris up close, and he wants to emulate some of what Clemson's doing, or most of it, at Arkansas, and he's got big dreams for this program. What can you tell us about when Chad Morris was at Clemson and what you know about him?
You know, we were struggling, and Dabo knew we had to make a change. He brought Chad in. And that's the other thing. I mean, he didn't go out and try to hire some big glamorous guy, you know, that already had a name. He had a vision on what he wanted from his offense. Chad was 1 year out of high school coaching at Tulsa. And the thing that Chad did when he came in here, he brought the new thing, what kids like to do. When they come to practice every day, I mean, you got a lot of energy because they like what they're doing from an offensive standpoint. And then it made us change some on defense, too, because we had to adapt to what teams are doing today with offenses. But the thing I liked about what Chad did, because he hadn't been out of high school too long, and he came in and he connected with these kids. I mean, our staff, we had some older guys here on our staff, but he connected with these kids, and it was able to help us recruit. Deshaun Watson was sitting right down the road in Georgia, and because of what we were doing on offense, he fell in love with it. His high school coaches came up here and spent a lot of time with us. He ended up going back down there, putting the things that we were doing on offense in there in Gainesville for Deshaun, and the next thing you know, we get Deshaun committed. And we all know what he did for us at quarterback and helping us prepare to be able to win a national championship. And that's what Chad did. Chad did a great job of that.
Well, I was just thinking, Hatfield, Arkansas, Ford, Arkansas, both of those guys, Clemson as well, they had some success here at Arkansas. I don't know, Chad Morris, there's a lot going on between Clemson and Arkansas. Is there any magic left in that connection?
You are dialed into Sports Talk. Get in on the show at 877-447-4040. Here is Bo Mattingly.
We're taking your calls. Jimbo is enrolling. Jimbo, welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me. Dudley, you guys, I'm glad you're on here. I really would like to ask you, I really think that, I know it sounds nuts when I say this, but with the right mix of players and the experience that these players are getting this year, plus the natural jump that they usually do under Mike, I really think that you could be pretty good next year. Who do you think they might be bringing in next year? No, we talked about signing maybe 3, maybe even 4 with Justice Hill. Who do you think they have a good shot at for next year?
Yeah, I think they're going to end up, when all is said and done, everything being equal, sign 4 kids. I think it will be Justice Hill, Javon Franklin, who's the young man from Little Rock Parkview who got hurt in the first game this season. The only positive to that is he would now have 3 years here instead of 2. And then I think they're going to get 2 big guys. One of them would probably be Raymond Hawkins from Findlay Prep, just like Reggie Chaney was. He's 6'9", 6'10", in the 230 range, having a very good year out there, and he has some Arkansas ties, and I think they have a shot to get him. And then there's about 4 or 5 other high school and junior college kids that they're taking a look at. 2 of them are junior college, or another one of the junior college kids has 3 years at Walter State, and they've just got several big guys that I think they know, obviously, that the odds of Daniel Gafford going pro next year have to be really, really good. And so you're looking at that being a spot filled in. You obviously had Jordan Phillips left, and Justice Hill gets his scholarship. Khalil Garland has been battling that medical issue. I think there'll be a decision made on that medical hardship, whatever as this year goes along, if nothing changes. And then I think you'll inevitably see somebody else leave, as always does. So I think they'll sign 4 kids, I believe.
Can you elaborate just a little bit on how you feel about, if they were to sign the mix of players? Because really, ultimately, when you look at year possibly 9 with Mike, I think you have to ask yourself, are we going to have a team in year 9 that's going to be competitive, a team that's going to be ready to go, a team that's going to make the NCAA tournament and, possibly even make a run?
Well, there's so many variables to that. Again, if Gafford stays, you're automatically better. But, I think he's going to go, obviously. If you do get the 2 big guys that I'm talking about, then I think the blow isn't as big. But what's the maturation process going to be like for these guys going from freshmen to sophomores? You look at a guy like Keyshawn Embry-Simpson, who has had an inconsistent year, but had 16 down at Ole Miss the other day and is finally shaking off the rust of only playing 10 games at prep school last year and doing so with shin splints. And I think he's finally coming into his own. He could step up and be something. Will Justice Hill take the point guard spot, away from Jalen Harris? Will Jalen Harris improve his shot? What about Reggie Chaney? Will he become, what we've seen at times, being more consistent? I just think there are a lot of variables that go in there. I thought they would be, right around 10th when the year started, and then they go 6-1, and I thought, well, they're going to be better than I thought, because I think Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones give you, some really good outside shooting, but they've just been inconsistent. And for whatever reason, the starting 5, none of them can play great during any one game. There's probably going to be a game there this year that all that's going to happen and they're going to look great, but they've just been terribly inconsistent. And what you have to decide is whether it's about the youth or whether it's about, the philosophy not working anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thanks, Dudley.
I do think Wednesday night.
Thanks for the call.
I do think Wednesday night is, it won't be a great win, but it could be a bad loss, because you again would be compared to one of the teams down at the bottom, and it would be your 5th loss at home this season, which would be the most. Yeah, and I think that going into the year, they were 117-19 at home during his tenure, but that no longer is is an advantage.
When we come back, I want to get into the style conversation since it just got brought up. We'll talk about that a little bit. First, though, a quick update before we hit the break. Arkansas does play Missouri last night, so I was like, you know what? I wonder what Kim Anderson's up to. So I decided to check on how Kim Anderson and the Pittsburgh State Gorillas are doing, and they're 13-4 this year. They are 6-2 in conference play, 8-0 at home. So Kim Anderson and the Gorillas getting it done so far this year. They have they lost their last game to Northeastern State in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. But before that, they beat Central Oklahoma on the road in Edmond, Oklahoma. And they host Emporia State tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.
You usually can throw out the records when those two get together.
Yeah, always. And then a tough matchup with Washburn. So anyway, things going really well for Kim Anderson, and I'm very happy.
Can we review, or just quickly, some of Kim Anderson's fantastic sound bites over the year?
Yeah.
This is what he said in his intro press conference.
I mean, I'm not the best coach in the country. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. I'm not.
We found that to be accurate.
Probably not. And then when he was, the writing was on the wall. He was being pushed out the door. I think he said this at the SEC tournament, knowing he was in his last days.
If you were to ask me, when did you know you were going to get fired? I would have said probably the first day I took the job.
Still one of the great quotes.
Oh, I miss Kim.
One of the great quotes, man. Tomorrow,
you don't have to miss him. Just drive up the road.
This is your challenge for tomorrow's show, Saw.
Okay.
Let's find some Kim Anderson sound, and let's check on him at Pitt State, previewing the matchup that they have against Emporia State at home tomorrow night. Let's see what Kim Anderson has to say. Back in a minute.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on SportandStory.com.
What's your more? Maybe it's more early morning duck calls at your own private duck club. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $50 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Life is better with basketball. And with First Security, we have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
We're expecting to hear from Woody McCorvey, who Dabo Swinney brought up for the Bear Bryant Award when he accepted the award a few days ago.
When I got the job at Clemson, the first person I called was Woody. He was the offensive coordinator at Mississippi State, and I said, Woody, man, I need you to come be by my side. I don't want you to coach a position. I want you to help me coach life. I want you to help me run the program. Y'all see he's got all the gray hair. I'm still hanging in there. But you don't know how impactful Woody McCorvey has been in my life. He's been right by my side. And so even though my name may be on this trophy tonight, man, he ought to be on there somewhere too.
He spent 18 years coaching in the SEC, and he's currently the Clemson Associate AD of Football Administration. He's been right there with Dabo Swinney the whole time, and he's joining us on the First Security Bank hotline, Woody McCorvey. Woody, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it today.
Glad to be on with you all.
That was quite a moment the other night. It was inspiring for many of us to watch. What was your reaction? Were you surprised when Dabo called you up on stage as he was receiving the Bear Bryant Coach of the Year award?
Yeah, I was really surprised, but I shouldn't have been because that's Dabo. I've been knowing him a long time, since 1990 when I went to Alabama, and he happened to be one of my players. And he always talked about me being an inspiration to him, but he's been a big inspiration to me. And, just having the opportunity to be here and be around him every day for the last 10 years has been very important to me and also my wife.
What did you see in him as a young coach that made you want to hire him back when you were the offensive coordinator at Alabama?
just his work ethic. When I first got there in 1990, they had just won the SEC championship the year before and played in the Sugar Bowl. Coaching change and just being around him that spring, and he didn't get a whole lot of opportunities early on in camp in August. But every day you went on the practice field, you noticed something about it. When you walked off the field, you saw something that he did. He wasn't as talented as some of those other guys, but his work ethic and his approach and the way he approached the game always jumped out at me. And then when we lost 2 receivers early that year, one in the Florida game in Tuscaloosa, the next week over in Athens in another game against Georgia, I decided I was going to give him a chance because I just wanted somebody to do the job, not be exceptional, but just do the job. And when I did that, he took that opportunity to make the most of it.
Has he always been able to recruit? Has he always been a good recruiter?
Oh, yeah. From day one. That's one thing I noticed when he couldn't even go on the road. We only had like 4 GAs at the time, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. But he did whatever he had to do in terms of writing notes. When we had kids in on official visits, when they came into Tuscaloosa, he did a tremendous job with families and the players. And then once he got that opportunity in '96, he went out there, he made the most of it. And he did a great job there for Alabama, even after I left. And then when Tommy Bowden hired him over here at Clemson, he did an exceptional job. And that's one of the biggest reasons that Terry Don Phillips gave him an opportunity to be the head coach here.
Because he can recruit. And Terry Don.
Yeah, the thing that Terry Don saw.
And now, the Ozark Sportsman Supply Hog Update.
Malika Monk with the game-winning shot to give Arkansas the 80-79 win over Tennessee on Monday.
That's a big step for us. That's a domino we've knocked down now, and we can go into some games like this with more confidence that we can win and win a clutch one. That's our 5th game this year that's been gone down to the last possession, either needing to score and stop or both. So we're growing up.
That's the women's 2nd win over Tennessee in Knoxville in program history. Next up, Alabama on Thursday. To the men who are desperately needing to snap their 4-game losing streak.
We got to play with a little more pop, a little more energy. I think that's got to be, we're an energy team. And once that energy is injected from a defensive standpoint, then we're in an attacking mode offensively as well.
Hoping to do so against Missouri on Wednesday. The Tigers and Hogs tip off at 8 p.m. at Bud Walton Arena. And John Scott Jr. is headed to South Carolina. The Hogs defensive line coach hired for the same position with the Gamecocks. Scott is a South Carolina native and has spent the past 2 seasons at Arkansas. I'm Melissa Orange for the Pig Trail Nation, and that's your Hog Update.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Thanks, Alyssa. The Hog Update brought to you by Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Casual Clothing and Footwear. It's your go-to store for all your work clothes and work footwear needs. They've got Carhartt coats, jackets, work bibs, jeans, shirts, and more. Their selection of Carhartt work gear is huge. Why go anywhere else when you can get it all in one place at the Ozarks? Ozark Sportsman Supply and Ozark Outpost Casual Clothing on Highway 412 West, just outside of Springdale and Tawnytown. Bart Pullman in here for Bo for just a couple more segments. Bo will be back at the start of the next hour. We're talking Hog basketball with Dudley, and I wanted to talk about style of play a little bit because caller in the last segment brought it up. We had ESPN's Chris Spatola on the show yesterday, and we asked him about the style and for his thoughts on Arkansas style under Mike Anderson, and he gave us some interesting, I thought, and fair points about the style.
It is not a style that I think wins consistently, but look, he has had personnel over the last couple of years where it has been effective. They won games in the tournament. They've now again, I attribute some of that to having really old guys and guys who can really score the basketball. I think ultimately, Bo, to beat good teams, you have got to be able to play in the half court. And the problem for Arkansas is that good teams are making them play in the half court, and good teams are taking Daniel Gafford out of the game. And so what do you do? Like Adriel, their veterans this year haven't given them, like an Adriel Bailey, haven't given them consistent play. So you're relying on young guys who, just can't, they haven't been able to do it in the half court.
Here's a little bit more.
Good teams are going to get back on defense. Good teams are not going to hand you the basketball and turn it over. So what are you after those two things are taken away? And I think what Arkansas is finding right now is life can be pretty hard.
The thing about what Chris Spatola said right there that I think is a fair criticism is that Arkansas has not traditionally been very good in the half court. Now, there have been years, I think of Bobby Portis' sophomore year, where they were pretty good in the half court.
I think every team that Corliss Williamson was on.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking specifically about the last 8 years or so. Mike Anderson's tenure. They have not consistently been very good half-court offense, half-court defense. And when you play good teams, they can, regardless of the talent level, even if Arkansas has similar level talent, if you're playing a good team, they can expose you in those areas, and that is something that we've seen.
Yeah, my thoughts going into the season, because I'd seen all these guys play on the recruiting trail, whether it be in high school, AAU, or junior college, was that this team was going to be much more balanced defensively. Guys who would go get after it defensively, and I think we saw that earlier in the year. The three-point percentage that has been a problem over the years had gone down. They're still in a situation where there's too many open three-pointers, but it wasn't at the start of the year like it is right now. I know everybody gets tired of hearing him talk about defense and defense intensity, but that really was where it starts, and that has been lacking here lately. The Tennessee game was just men against boys, and it just didn't work. These other games, I think that they've lost, they should have been able to pull out. Obviously, you took LSU into overtime. You messed around the first half against Florida. Those are wasted games. Those are games you could have won at home. You'd be sitting at 12-5, and maybe everybody wouldn't be all that excited, but you still would be in a situation better than what you're in now. And that's why we go into this game tomorrow night with a thought of it being a very important game for Arkansas. Arkansas has to find some confidence somewhere, and that usually is from winning basketball games. And while Missouri's not a great team, Jeremiah Tillman is a very good player inside when he can stay out of foul trouble. That became a big thing for him. First part of January is doing a little bit better right now. Obviously, they lost John Tay, to start the season, and you've got a guy like Geist, who is their point guard, who's playing pretty well this year and is playing with an urgency as a senior. And to me, he's a guy who went through a lot of adversity, has learned from it, and has taken those lessons and has become a pretty good point guard for them this year.
It really is, and you hate using this phrase. It's one of the most overused expressions in sports, and more often than not, it's completely inaccurate. It really kind of is a must-win game, though, for Arkansas. Yeah, because if they lose that one, it can really go downhill fast.
Yeah, and Texas Tech has lost a couple in a row, not playing as well as they should, but they're going to play great when Arkansas goes down there Saturday, in part because they play great defense and don't allow you to get the easy baskets. So that's going to be tough on Arkansas. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to get any easier. You need to at least get this win. And again, it's not going to be a win before a lot of people. I mean, I would suspect 5,000 people for a Wednesday night 8 o'clock game, when they're not playing well.
That's a whole nother topic, but it folds into this too, is the awful TV time slots that the SEC network has. Really, really, I think, hurt teams in this league. And when things aren't going well, it's just I'm not going to go to that game. It's at 8 o'clock. Why would I waste my weeknight and go to Bud Walton Arena and sit there for 2 hours and then have traffic after the game, probably not get home till 11 to watch Arkansas, Missouri.
Whereas that was not a problem back in the day. In fact, when I went to I always go to Low T on Tuesday before I come here. One of our great sponsors, by the way, and they looked at a picture that they had on the wall, and it was of a 1994 game. The crowd was all standing up. They were ahead of Kentucky 31-29, and it gave me a clear picture of what it used to look like and what I'm going to walk into to see tomorrow night. And if you're winning and it's an event, everybody will come, and that's why it's happening in a lot of places in the SC. If you're not winning, if it's not exciting, and then you get the Wednesday 8 o'clock game, people
it makes
are
it worse.
Just like the one people told me today, I'll just watch it on TV. Yeah, and that's
and maybe fall asleep at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, geez Louise, they've got to. And I have recommended my solution for a long time for the SEC network. Have 5:30 and 7:30 tips instead of 6 and 8 tips, or stagger tips. Use your alternate channel.
I don't know why that alternate channel is even over there if they're not going to use it.
Right. I mean, if you start a game at 5:30 Central, an East Coast game at 5:30 Central, that means it's starting at 6:30 local. That's fine.
Yeah. North Carolina started their game the other night at 9 o'clock, and it was packed because it's North Carolina, and they're playing well.
But I would argue that no college basketball game should ever start at 9 p.m. local time.
Yeah, I would argue that it should start 8, but that's
well, yeah, I agree with that too. But enough of sounding like two old guys.
Of which one of us is
complaining about start times. Hog basketball, the style of play, the conversation will continue, and it'll be interesting to watch if Arkansas makes some adjustments tomorrow night. Missouri has some guys who can really shoot it. Arkansas prone to giving up transition three-pointers or early in the shot clock looks at three. And that is part of what's attributed to this Razorback team over the past couple of seasons getting in these big first half holes, because they give up those looks and then they're not firing on offense, and all of a sudden it gets out of hand real quick and you got to fight and claw your way back into the game. So changing it up maybe a little bit. If Arkansas can do that, they might be in better shape tomorrow night against Missouri. 8 o'clock, that game tipping off. 877-447-4040. We will take more of your calls, and Saw has a game for us when we come back.
This is Sports Talk, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Whether it's commercial or residential, you can count on Pickett Construction to provide quality, cost-effective services. They specialize in commercial buildings and custom homes. And if you're looking for a new home, check out Prairie Meadows Subdivision in Prairie Grove. Pickett Construction's been serving Arkansas since 2002, licensed in 12 different states. Pickett guarantees customer satisfaction, and they have the manpower to handle any job. And in the last 17 years, there's not much they haven't done. Find them online at PickettConstruction.com. You pick it, we'll build it.
Want to get in on the fun of the lottery and get a great deal? Just say gimme 5 and ask for the $5 bundle from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery. For $5, you get a $3 Powerball ticket, a $2 Mega Millions ticket, and a free Natural State Jackpot ticket. It's an easy way to play all 3 games and get a shot at life-changing jackpots. Say gimme 5 for your $5 bundle today. With quick picks only. Offer ends January 31st. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Lindsay Golf Courses range from 27-hole championship to 9-hole par 3s and are making a presence in affordable country club memberships for both individuals and families. Our challenging courses and extensive amenities are designed to attract golfers of all ability levels and offer recreational and social opportunities for members. Lindsay 18-hole championship golf courses can be found in Northwest Arkansas, Paradise Valley Athletic Club in Fayetteville, and in Rogers at Lost Springs Golf and Athletic Club. Or you can visit lindsaymanagement.com for a complete list of Lindsay golf courses.
Razorback women's basketball is back inside Bud Walton Arena on Thursday, January 24th at 7 p.m. for a matchup with SEC conference opponent Alabama, presented by Degree. Tickets are $5 for adults and $3 for youth 17 and under. This game will recognize Alzheimer's awareness as part of the We Back Pat initiative. Get your tickets at the door or call 1-800-982-HOGS or visit ArkansasRazorbacks.com. stand side by side with the Razorback women's basketball.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
All right, let's go to the First Security Bank hotline, and we welcome in Arkansas's newest quarterback, Ben Hicks, a graduate transfer from SMU. Ben, great to have you on the show. Thanks for making time for us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys.
I guess it's been a little bit of a fast whirlwind for you after deciding you were going to go somewhere else. Tell us what the last couple of weeks have been like.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Just been trying to figure everything out with my family, taking visits, talking to coaches, just trying to figure out, what was best, for my future. And I decided Arkansas would be the best place to play my last year. And, it's been going fast ever since I got here. And, but I'm looking forward to getting to work. So,
are you already enrolled in school?
Pretty much, yes, sir. I start class tonight. Haven't been able to work out yet just because of paperwork and a bunch of, medical stuff, trying to get all that fixed and taken care of so I can, be clear to go work out. So just trying to get all that stuff done as quickly as possible.
That's a quick turnaround. You're here over the weekend and you're on campus ready to go to school a couple days later. This is how fast it's happening for Ben Hicks. What made you choose Arkansas?
Just the opportunity to come back and play for Coach Morris and Coach Craddock. And this staff, it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up, and to come in and play in the SEC, playing an offense that I've already played in, and I'm familiar with. So, just too many positives. So I just thought this would be the best place for me to finish on my college career.
Do you feel like you're walking into it?
You are dialed into Sports Talk. Get in on the show at 877-447-4040. Here is Bo Mattingly.
Art Pullman in here for one more segment along with Dudley Dawson. Bo will be back at the top of the next hour. Saw has a game for us.
Yeah, I do have a game. I'm currently trying to find the open to my game.
Oh, okay.
It seemed to
so
misplace it.
We'll stall.
No, you can just recreate
it. We'll just keep talking here, and
I don't know what happened.
A good time.
It has disappeared on me, which is very rare.
Struggling to find an open for the game.
Which, if you know my games, is super key.
We're just gonna
right?
keep talking. Yeah,
3 seconds. We should be good here, and Bart, you're doing a great job.
Okay, I'm trying.
Here we go.
Give a rat's about Twitter.
If I sound a little bit pissed, you're right. I am.
He is the only one I've ever met that can handle my junk.
Thank you.
Oh,
you freeze.
You freeze.
So, there's no clapping in this one, Dudley, like the other game, but I think you for
especially
clapping
not when you lose the open.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. Okay, so this game, Dudley, I'm going to play sound bites that have been disguised, and you're going to try to guess who said these things, okay? We'll start with this clip right here.
We only have one goal here, and that's to host the Lombardi Trophy.
A little bit of a misspoke there. He said, we only have one goal here, and it's to host, not hoist, the Lombardi Trophy. Who said that? Was it A, Sean McVay, B, Jared Goff, C, Rob Gronkowski, or D, Freddie Kitchens?
We can take Freddie Kitchens out of the mix, I think.
Oh, you think so? Okay. All right.
Because he isn't going to have a chance to do that.
Jeez. Okay.
I mean, they got a long way to go, don't you think? Especially to host it.
Yeah. Especially to host it. Yeah.
Super Bowl ain't going to Cleveland anytime soon.
I think it seems like something Gronkowski would say.
Okay. Bart?
I'm going to say it's Freddie Kitchens.
Bart gets it. It definitely is Freddie Kitchens.
We only have one goal here, and that's to host the Lombardi Trophy.
I don't know if they'll be hoisting it.
Host it as it travels around.
Yeah, they can host it.
Yeah.
Here's our next soundbite. Who said this about their new team's uniforms?
I like their uniforms. I mean, I love the helmet.
I like the uniforms. I mean, I love the helmet. Was it A, Mike Locksley at Maryland? B, Adam Gase with the Jets? C, Cliff Kingsbury, the new Arizona coach, Cardinals coach? Or D, Freddie Kitchens at the Browns?
Since E, Houston Nutt is not one of the options.
I was going to say, it's Houston Nutt for sure.
I'm going to go with Adam Gase.
Adam Gase?
I'm
the
gonna
Jets
say,
uniform? Attractive?
Helmet.
No, I like the helmet.
I'm going to say that it is Mike Locksley because they have just some
Maryland
weird
does have some cool
helmets.
Weird's probably right. No, it's Freddie Kitchens again.
I like their uniforms. I mean, I love the helmet. I like the simplicity of the helmet.
The Browns uniforms are so ugly. Like, come on.
It's an orange helmet. That's all it is. It's an orange helmet. Okay.
Okay, who said this?
I'll just let you know, I don't have Twitter. I don't look at the internet. I don't really watch TV. I watch movies.
So there's that. Was it A, Bill Belichick, B, Patrick Mahomes, C, Adam Gase, or D, Drew Brees?
Okay, so I'm going to rule out Belichick because he wouldn't have been able to properly identify Twitter. He probably would have called it like Tweetbook or something
okay,
like that.
Good point.
So I'm gonna take Belichick off the table.
Okay.
I'm also gonna take Drew Brees off the table because I don't see he's got young kids. I don't see that working for him. So I'm gonna go with Adam Gase because that man has the crazy eyes.
I'm gonna go with Patrick. I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes because he seems like a Netflix and chill guy to me.
Oh, Bart got it. It was Adam Gase.
I'll just let you know, I don't have Twitter. I don't look at the internet. I don't really watch TV. I watch movies.
It's just weird.
He is an odd man.
One of his former assistants at Miami used to look at the internet a little bit too much.
Whoa, good one.
Whoa.
Okay, and we'll end with this one. Who said this?
We're juiced, but we're not like, super juiced.
We're juiced, but we're not like super juiced. Was it A, Aqib Talib, B, Rob Gronkowski, C, Sean McVay, or D, Robert Kraft?
Dudley, who you got?
Kraft.
I'm going to go with Gronk because there seemed to be a Gronk chuckle in there.
It was Gronkowski.
We're juiced, but we're not like, super juiced.
That dude is super juiced. Come on, that dude is super juiced all the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
it.
That's all we have time for today.
Hey, 3 for 4 right
Bart,
here.
you did really well. You did really well there, Bart.
And tell him what he's won.
Yeah.
And what?
I've won nothing. I've won nothing.
The points, they don't matter here.
It's whose line it is anyway. Points don't matter.
No, they don't.
They're all made up. They don't matter. Yeah. Who said? Great game, Saul.
I had fun with that one.
Thanks for bringing that to the table. Dudley, thanks for being in here.
You bet.
We will, or I'll see you at Oakland Saturday.
Yes.
You are listening to Sports Talk, produced by Bart Pullman, directed by Sire Radler. Want the latest commentary, interviews, takes, and phone calls?
Anytime, anywhere.
Check out Sports Talk Primetime, Arkansas's premier sports talk podcast. Find it on iTunes or online at sportsandstory.com.
Lindsay Golf Courses range from 27-hole championship to 9-hole par 3s and are making a presence in affordable country club memberships for both individuals and families. Our challenging courses and extensive amenities are designed to attract golfers of all ability levels and offer recreational and social opportunities for members. In Bryant, Hurricane Golf and Country Club. Benton, Long Hills Golf Club. Conway, Centennial Valley Golf and Country Club. Nutters Chapel Golf and Country Club, and in Little Rock, Eagle Hill Golf and Athletic Club. Lindsay Golf Courses.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Do you feel like you're walking into an offense that you know and already understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.